Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at College of Charleston.
Good job. When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
David.
Where's everybody?
9 painful months.
You know, without these special people behind me, I wouldn't have a search. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. Happy weekend. Happy Friday to each and every last one of you that joining in with this live stream. Something I'm doing weekly again. But just want to say thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you. I hope you all are enjoying your holiday season. You know, we just had Thanksgiving. We are going into the Christmas break as well as New Year. Just want to say, you know, this is the time of the year, regardless of your ideas of what the holiday represents to you. I can't say, you know, it's an opportunity for families to get together, spend their time. You know, many of us, you know, get days off from work. A lot of people get an opportunity to travel to states they're probably originated from, or going abroad to other families that they haven't seen over the years, who have probably moved to another country or another state. But ultimately, like I said, just an opportunity to get with your families. I think that's the most important thing you can do, especially in today's time. You know, you never know how life will turn. I always often like to say, you know, even in our situation, my family, you know, never would have thought we would be going through this. I would be making videos and doing live streams and fighting in the desert and, you know, advocating and everything, you know, because my son went missing. So we take those opportunities and spend that time with your family, which is important. I love family time, and I look forward to being able to see family members, especially ones, like I said, that you haven't seen in a while. Again, I'm David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson. My son Daniel, geologist, scientist, brilliant young man, entrepreneur. What else can I say? You know, he's just a great person. Had went missing on June the 23rd of 2021. Since then, I have been advocating, fighting for him. We want to bring him home, so I would not let go. I would not let my foot off the pedal. We know that a lot of times, you know, we keep fighting, we keep pushing, we keep looking. We can bring a loved one home. I'm a witness to that. I have a friend of mine had a daughter that went missing at the age of 16 years old. At 18 years old, she was at 16, but at 18, she came back home. She was able to come back alive and well. You know, the mother, she stayed persistent. She didn't give up. She was out there speaking. She was engaging. I mean, just part of every aspect of finding her daughter, and it paid off. So I'm looking forward to the same results for Daniel. I'm just going to keep pushing and keep, keep doing that. I believe in. I'm a guy that believe in. I have faith. I believe in hope, and I believe in my faith. And my faith is based on my actions. My actions to do everything I can to fight for my son, including right here on the bottom of the screen or the top of the screen. If you're on Instagram, you'll see the tip line, 844-602-0660. If you know any information, you have any information about my son, geologist Daniel Robinson, that went missing in Arizona, Sonoran Desert while working, please utilize this tip number. There's also a phone number I can give you that come directly to me, 803-200-7994. If you have any information, any kind of information, anything that you know that will bring Daniel back home, I ask you, after all these years, to please utilize these numbers, utilize the resources, the way you can even hit me on inbox of social media to give us some closure. Something that you say or would probably get us closer to find out what happened to my son. Utilize the number that you see on the screen, and you can be anonymous. If you're talking to the live operators 24 hours, 7 days a week, you can remain anonymous. If you don't want to talk to anyone at all, just like it says here, you can text the word TIP, TIP, to the number, and you can still remain anonymous. A form will come up so you can fill that out. You still can remain anonymous. Again, my son, he's a native of Columbia, South Carolina, born and raised. He's went to school to the College of Charleston to pursue his career in geology, graduate honors. He decided to take that out to Arizona to live his life, to start his dreams out, to start off the work that he wanted to do, the things he wanted to do, become a millionaire before 30, and etc. So he went missing. You're missing doing the job that he loved, in the state that he loved. Being in Arizona for a geologist is great. You get to see all the, I like to say, pretty rocks and things, and he knows exactly where they come from and all this kind of stuff. So from the science way. And so that's Daniel. Also, to give you a little bit about the personality of Daniel, very friendly, family oriented, has a lot of friends. People I've run to a lot of times, even on social media, was always give me good words about Daniel. Hey, I know that guy. I I hung around him in college, or whatever the case may be. Everyone had gave a great report about Daniel. Speaking from a family standpoint, I say the same. My son, he has a big heart. He loves his family. I often tell you the story that I just stick on. There's many other stories, but I will stick on the one where he, even doing corporate, he traveled to see his grandparents, stay outside the window, talk to them outside the window, because no one knew at the time knew much about COVID. But he was out there just to see his grandparents, and that's what I'm saying. He's the kind of person who want to be around his family, love his family. We love him back. He's well missed by me and his family. I missed my 2-hour conversation with my son. His inquisitive nature. He's really proud of things that he does. He always asks all these questions, like I said, and his dreams and hopes and aspirations and all that stuff. I miss that. I even miss some of the times that Daniel would irritate me, just like any parent can get irritated on certain things. And I would give anything for those moments. But to jump into what I want to talk about tonight, I told you last week I was going to go into talking about some of the things that happened at the well site. We was going to stick on to about the well site when I talked to one person in the comment section, asked about the well. Did we go and look into the well? So tonight I'm going to kind of brush over, do a little speeding up on the video, because going down in that well takes a long way down. We have one well that was 500 feet. The other one is over 1,000 feet. And so it takes a while to get down. So I will go, you'll see me kind of fast forward on the video, but I want to talk about that video again. I did it before when it was fresh and new, when I had the company come in and go down into the wells. I was really disappointed with the Buckeye Police Department at the time. And I did say I was going to do this too as well, and say Buckeye Police Department. I'm really trying to honor the good officers that's out there doing the good work, the good departments that are doing all the good work. But I had to be specific, like one asked me, requested, Not to make it sound like I'm saying all law enforcement, but the Buckeye Police Department. I was disappointed with the way they assessed the well that was that needed to be searched. We had a well that was told to me and my family that Daniel was last seen, and then there was another well that was north of that that matches what Ken said, 1 mile west, 2 mile north, where the actual well site should have been based on his word, and then the other was based on Daniel's job. So those both needed to be checked out. They was in close proximity. Like I said, I was really disappointed with the way Buckeye Police Department handled that. But I didn't put it in the atmosphere of the social media and also the news, is because I didn't want to, like I say, appear to be anti-police or something. But I was very disappointed. Very disappointed. They utilized at the time. It was called Arizona Posse or whatever they call themselves. Came in with a camera to look down in the well under my request. Look down into those wells. One, they didn't do at all. They didn't really pull a full attempt to have this company to remove that device they had on it at the time. That was the well site I was told, the first well site when I was told that Daniel was last seen. But the second one was really piqued my interest because of the story that Ken gave to me, and as well as the size of that well. And so having that, I wanted the Buckeye policemen to go in there and do both. They did the latter. They did the second well site that I'm going to be really focusing on tonight. And when they did so, like I said, with the Arizona Posse folks, they had a camera that wasn't submersible. They just hit the surface of the water. Was really upset that the camera touched the water, and it was like, "Oh well, Mr. Robinson, that's it." You know, I went as far as in forcing them to bring what they call a cadaver dog. Yeah, I argue the point if it really was a cadaver dog, but they said they brought the dog, and I did see the dog. But what also I had demanded also along with this going down in that well with the camera that I thought they would submerge and go down into, that they would first put air down in that well. And what they did is has a kind of fan blowing, but I wanted some air shot down into the well to make whatever scent come up, and then bring the dogs to see if they, say if some human remains there, right? And so they did bring this, like I say, a fan. But I'm not sure that was the proper way of doing so. Not criticizing the work, but I'm criticizing the fact that they did not go down in the well below the surface of the water, but yet went to that surface of water and say, Mr. Robinson, you should be satisfied with that. And I wasn't. I wasn't, because I know things sink. Water's buoyancy is great, especially in salt water, but that's fresh water. And also the fact that, people wear things down. And so I waited till after they left. I didn't say, I pretty much told you guys that the Buckeye Police Department did so. But I did work with another company to go down in as well to actually do the job correctly. Of course, we had to make some strings get pulled to the owners of the well to offer them a free inspection just to get it done. So I will talk about those right now tonight. I'll show the videos. We're going to talk about also the proximity of talk about the crash site where the vehicles eventually found. I'm going to continue a little bit of that too from last week. One thing I wanted to point out this week is the fact we kind of skip over when we talk about that crash site. I like to call it a crime scene. And Buckeye Police Department pointed out that everything on Dane's body was found 3 feet away from the vehicle, but there's a sock that matches the sock that we found, that was found. The Buckeye Police Department, the rancher who found the vehicle, Buckeye Police Department found it, who came to follow up, and they found the socks and the clothing at the scene, at the crime scene. But also there's a sock near the crash site, near the well site, excuse me, that was found that matches the sock that was at the crime scene. And the sock, when the sock was found near the well site, that was well after everything was taken from the crime scene, right? And so my investigator found those things. So while I was out searching, doing our weekly searches. So I will talk about that. I'll show you pictures and stuff for that. And let's see what else. I'll make sure I'm not missing anything. This week, I want to just implore you, because I didn't get the content up that I really wanted. I wanted to talk about also include some family stories, like I do on the live streams, tell you about someone going missing. I know here in South Carolina, we had like 200, I think it was 235 people missing in February. We now, I think, 581. Just in our state alone, we have 600,000 Americans go missing every year, around that much. And we have over 3,000 people, Americans go missing every day in this country. Over 2,000 of them are children. But of all missing American cases, 40% are people of color. And with Black Americans, we only make 13 to 14% of the population. That is something that's happening, that I know we have all the noise about the politics and someone drowning all the energy out the air of things that's actually happening on the ground to everyday Americans. So we want to make sure we talk about that. So what I'm saying is, if you all can find a family story, please share it, because we can't get it on the air. You can't get it in the news cycle. So everybody's relying on you to share their stories, especially the podcasters. If you listen to me now, I've worked with a lot of you. I worked with a lot of content creators. And so, share these stories and get these families on the air and let them tell the stories, because that's important for us. It takes the right and only one person to hear the story and actually get some assistance for the family. So, and a lot of times it helps with some of these nonprofits that's out there. They hear about the stories, and they go out there to help these families search for the missing loved ones. I had my share of the Black and Missing Foundation was one of them. The only foundation that came out to help in Daniel's case. Even sent drones, donated. You name it, to help with the efforts to find my son. So again, they're out there. So it takes people like you to share. Before I go again, I'm going to put the comment section in. I want to say thank you to everyone who's joined in. I saw a lot of you on Instagram. Of course, I can't get you on the screen. I can show you a little bit of what you look like to me. It's like this to me when I look up on the screen, but to get you at your comments as on the screen, I won't be able to do that. They still haven't worked that out. StreamYard and also Meta. So I want to say Victory Bud, thanks so much for being here. And I know what I was going to say too. After I finish everything said and done tonight, when I show you all the videos and we go through stuff, I'm going to do a short Q&A. If you have any questions at the end, I'm going to go through the comment section really quick, and I'm going to only look for questions. And when you have questions, please put the capital letter Q question. Even if you're on Instagram, I'll do those too. I might, but I put on screen, but I'll do those too. Once I finish doing all the videos and stuff, I'll say, hey, look, I'm going to the Q&A section. When I do that, I need you all to put the capital letter Q, the word question, or a big question mark before your question, because like I said, I'm gonna be going down it really quick, and that's all I'm gonna be looking for. So if you have that on there before your question, then I can identify it as your question, and then I would put it on the screen if you're on the other social media platforms, and if you're on Instagram, I'll just go ahead and read it out. But we'll go through your questions. I'll go through your questions and answer those as best I can, and get as many of the questions I can before I jump off the air. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tracy, for being here as well. Good evening to you. Green Light, thanks so much for being here. How are you? Doing well, doing good. Thank you so much. Yes, meditating or talking. No, I don't do that. No, I don't do the psychedelic mushrooms and magic mushrooms. No, none of that kind of stuff. But meditation is good. Meditation is very good. I do that much as I can, possible I can. We need that. But the other things, no, I would not do those. But I appreciate it though for you being here. Green Light. And let's see, Dana, thanks so much for being here. I truly appreciate you. And if my moderators are here, I thank you so much for being here on the chats, for moderating. And also, Tracy, thanks so much for being here. Thank you for your prayers. And let's see, Hector, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Again, you say hello. I live in Buckeye and used to frequent the area. Daniel went missing in. I always wanted to find justice for him and the family. Thanks so much. We really appreciate your help. If ever there'll be a search out there again, I hope to see you out there at that point. Zodiac, thanks so much. Have a question, Zodiac. I'm gonna mark your question, so at the end I'll come back to it. But I'll read the question, but I'm gonna get back to the question once like I said, get finished with the videos and things. when you had recovered your son's Jeep in that ravine, had you checked to see if Daniel used a special key on the roof panel to get out during the crash? I have only seen that vehicle twice, and I want to answer that question, but I'll answer the question like I said at the end. I was just about to jump on it, but once I get on that roll to answer questions, hours have passed just like that. So, Zodiac, I will come back and I'll mark your question. I will come back to your question at the end of this, videos and things I want to show tonight. Who else I have? PM Channel, thanks so much for always being here. I truly appreciate you. Hello to you and also the moderators in the chat. Yes, thanks so much. And I have a moderator right here. Thank you, Lakeisha, for being here. Good evening, David. Did you ever receive the results of the items in the 1,000 feet well? And that's amazing you say that, because I will be talking about that well tonight, and that's part of the videos I will be showing. And Keisha, I will answer that at the end of that part of it too as well. Let's see. You say hello again, and also, like, if I didn't say already, thanks so much for moderating and keeping the chat so I would like to say safe. So thanks so much. I appreciate you. Also, Bob Jean, thanks so much for being here. You have a question also. I truly appreciate it. The question is, what was it a core drilling company or a water well drilling company? It's a water well drilling company. That's what it was. I can't answer that really quick, but I'm going to also mark yours to come back to that as well. And so all the questions I have so far, I'm marking those. And if you're on the Instagram side, I don't see any questions to mark. But please, if you do on the Instagram side, it'll be hard for me to try to scroll back up to find it. I won't be able to mark it. So if you can wait till after, like I said, I finish with the videos and things, and I say, hey, I'm going to Q&A section, and you want to say something on Instagram, please do so at that time. Barbara Jean, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your prayers. Thanks for Elaine. Again, thanks so much for being here. Wish you all the best in your search for Daniel. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Really need it. So thank you so much. All right, everyone. I will go ahead and geology is great. Whoever said that just now, I just happened to see that as I was jumping off. Victor, thanks so much. Victory, thanks so much for being here. It is really good. My son, he was always pushing me to. First of all, he tried to get me to live in Arizona, but he also pushed me to go to Sedona. He's even before I saw it. And when I had to go do a follow-up lead one time, I had to go to Sedona for the first time. Man, when I hit Sedona area, I was like, you know what? I see why he loved this place. It's beautiful, very beautiful. But yes, geology is one of those things. All right, and so having said that, I want to first start off with the website. I want to just kind of just briefly talk about the website. Please help find Daniel.com. And we're going to talk about that just for a moment. I just want to kind of not the fullness of it, but just want to kind of brush over. This is a website, of course, the original website. Please help find Daniel. I started that the first, really soon after Daniel went missing. I thought it was very important. It is very important when you have a missing loved one to create social media pages, as well as, like I say, something like a website where you can put information for the media, for the public, and also help with humanizing your loved one. Believe it or not, that means a lot when I say that. A lot of times when people can actually see the pictures and things like that, they can, identify, the things that the family need and things like that. So you also got the events button up here, the donation button, the sign a petition button, the volunteer to search button, volunteer in other ways, and the print the flyers. So please go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and you find out the ways you can help in my efforts to find Daniel. And I want to say really quick too is that I have been a lot slower than I have been in the past on. When I say slower, I have been not able to put as much time as I normally would in my son's social media and things like that, because I have been running for office, and that takes a lot. Everyone knows that I have done that, and it started from the fact that I am still trying to get cell phone pings for my son's case, and I know families right now are trying to get certain things that technology-wise where we should be utilizing. I'm understanding why. And so it pushed me to push legislation that I crafted, some legislation, the Daniel Robinson's Law, the Police Help Find Missing Americans Act. Something I push here in South Carolina should be hitting the floor and try to get it implemented here. I'm not an elected official yet, but that's what I've done. But what I'm saying is it takes a lot of time on things I'm doing. And so when people don't see me much, I say, oh, you just moved on. No, I never would move on from my son. And so I'm really pushing those things to help other families as well, not just including my son, but everything else. So I just want to throw that out there. But what I want to get on, and I'm going to put a couple of maps up and talk through these maps, and so you can understand what this is about. But anyway, this is the map of, and I open on Instagram. I think everybody may be able to see that pretty decent. At least I hope so. I'm thinking a little part of me thinking that it'd probably be a little difficult because I see how small it is on that screen. But I'm looking at it from the Instagram and see, yes, it looks pretty decent, I think. Let me see if I can pull up the Instagram here to make sure everybody, the screen is not really full. So what I would do is I would take off Daniel's feet, legs, and make it just pretty much a blank screen for you guys so you can see. Maybe that'll be a little better. But this is the area where Daniel went missing. Of course, this is the map off the website. Please help find Daniel. You want to look at the sector map, you will find this map. But I want to point out a few things on this map. It didn't look like this at first, of course. This is a whole development that was built. And the reasons why Daniel then was out there in the first place was to, you see the website here. I'll see if I can make this a lot bigger. But you see the website here, website here. And all of this was desert. Everything was desert. You didn't have any roads here. You didn't have the development here. But they wanted to do this. They wanted to put a new community here. It's called a smart city, Howard Hughes Corporation. I could give you all ins and outs about it. But they went out to this area to assess the groundwater. This groundwater at this well site that's attached. Also up here is the second well site that is a well site that is attached to this groundwater that runs all the way to, let's see if I can go out so you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is Buckeye, but you come down into the city of Buckeye and around, I would say, Broadway, all these areas here is areas of Buckeye, but the groundwater runs all through the Buckeye area, to make a long story short. And so Daniel's job in Nature's New World, Nature Stuff with groundwater job is to assess the groundwaters in this earth, right? And if it can sustain and really support this community that they want to build. So there's a lot of things we can talk about the water. I'm not talking about that tonight, but I can say they wanted to build this thing really bad. I think it stands to make a lot of money. So, there's a lot to that. So, of course, it's called Terra Vallis is the name of the community, but it's a smart city that they're building. Still probably working on. That's why it looked like this. Still look like it's unfully developed, but they got roads there. But this is the well site location that how I want to say Ken. Well, Ken didn't tell me that. He told the job company told me that. That was doing the first search out there. My first public search. I followed Daniel's co-worker who took me to the spot. And since then, we call this the well site that Daniel was last seen. I really believe from Ken's story when he said 1 mile west, 2 miles north, because you go up here, this mark here is where the well site, because once you get on this road here, you have to go to the left to get to the well site. But it was based on the T-junction that was about right in this area. And when you go up, the 2 mile north will take you here. And I've done it. I've done it many times. If you look at previous videos I had, you'll see that I literally, recorded the odometer and did exactly the way the story that Ken told me. And that's the reason why I say I know his story just don't add up, right? And so if you listen to his story, though, it takes you to, like I said, this well site. You can't really see it because we don't have it marked. It's going by what Matrix New World gave me. But this is the well site here, right? You probably can see a little square figure there. I don't know if everybody can see it on the thing, but it's a well site. And according to Ken, his story, that would have been the location. According to Daniel's job, who drove me here, had followed him to this well. He first of all, he got us lost, and I told you the story. He last week he took us to a corral first. That was like a little south of this well. It was probably around in this area. Took us to a corral first, and then said, "Oh no, that's not it." And then they ventured to me here. So, "Oh yeah, that's it." You know, after some time. But when I go specifically by, like I said, Ken's story, it would take you to this point. Now, and the reason why I brought that up, because I wanted to show you a few things. We're going to first start off with the well site. If we was to believe that this is the actual well site that Daniel was last seen, if you travel like what Ken said, you follow the direction that he felt that Daniel went out west into the desert. From this well, he drove south to the T-junction, and then he went out west somewhere out here. But we already know that the west kind of goes a few hundred feet, and then it goes south. What it does, it ends up coming south through this area here, and it travels down through here where West Cut this road is, and it travels past this. This is a infrastructure where it's like a power plant type deal, and it goes further down, come down to this area what we call the quarry area. It's a real open area. So y'all hear me telling the story about the guy that was working on my search, was my search coordinator. He first introduced me to this area that morning. It was right here. And you just go this is the area we park vehicles park their cars in. I mean, it's a big open area for get more cars, and I really liked it. But you walk over the hill to get to the crime scene where the vehicle was found. There's another road that comes through here where you can also access the crime scene, right? But it's a real steep hill right here. Of course, you can't tell with this map, but it's very steep. I remember the last time I went up that hill was on April. I believe it was a little before. It was a little before the search, I believe, when I was with Missing Americans, American Most Wanted Missing Persons. We was filming out here, and I was with Paige, and he driving a Jeep was going up that thing and almost turned over. That's how steep it is. I'll just put it that way. And so long story, to get 30-something miles per hour, for a fact that wouldn't come from that direction. And even from this direction is hills too, as well, and a lot of brush. So what I'm saying is to point these things out. I would want to talk about that. Is the distance that you can see, and I'm gonna go ahead and kind of go out a little bit so everyone can kind of notice this. But you can see the distance from this well site, if we want to believe that's the well site that Daniel was last seen, to this location where the vehicle was found. Right, that's a bit stretched. It's about 2.5, 3 miles, and roughly, and so he had to go through a lot just to get there. I'll just put it that way. And so at the scene, I show you a lot of pictures and things at the scene where, a lot of pictures on the scene where, the clothing, like I said, was on the ground. The socks, you name it, the vehicle line on the side, just all of that, everything that was on the ground. We seen that. We've seen that, right? So what I want to do now is kind of do a comparison as well. I'm going to pull up a separate map. It's another map that I want to show you guys on that too as well. Is that this is from Google. This is where I'm going to show you a point where the sock was found. Let's see if I can get that back up again and go out a little bit. This is the area before they built this development. And so the map's now going to show the development. So let's pretend this is not this is not here. That's the only way I can do this. And so this is the well site that we're speaking of. This is the well site. and the sock was found here. This is where the sock was found. So all of that was desert back then. All that was desert, no development, no nothing. So the proximity from the sock to the well was here. Then when you come down further down, then you have to say from sock all the way across here to the end of where this quarry is to where the vehicle's found, right up in here, somewhere in this, approximately in this area. So we had to ask the question why the sock was found here that matches the sock there from the crime scene. Law enforcement don't want to address that. The other part is, again, we look at this well site. The other well site is located here, the well site that matches what Ken's story says. So I want to go back in and I will talk about that tonight a little bit because I just want everybody to understand certain things, certain points I have when it comes to the way I understand Daniel's story, where I understand what law enforcement gave my family, the story they want us to go by and just take what the word I want to use, just take their word for it, right? Without question, without common sense, those type things that I think really matters when you have to have transparency and all those kind of things. So we're gonna go to some pictures. I'm gonna throw the pictures on up there. So this is trial and error. So hopefully everything work out the way I really want it to. So here we go. This is the sock. My investigator found the sock when it was, I think it was after the vehicle was found. I hired my private investigator. I think of about a week or two, roughly. My investigator started. Him and his team started coming out to the search with me. They came out a few times out in the desert themselves. Of course, you guys, it's very expensive. I had to pay for backhoes and all kind of things because what happened is, I'm gonna give you a little backstory before the sock was found. We were finding areas where it was freshly dug up areas and covered back up. So my investigator at the time was in close proximity to the well site. And that's all we had to go by at one point. And then also the crash site, and then 11 additional miles and all that stuff we found. But near the well site, there was, like I said, some dug up spots. And so, of course, I had to rent out some equipment, some construction equipment. Everything was cost on me, on my behalf. It wasn't, of course, you guys, thank you so much for donating. So it helps me with a lot of that kind of cost. But we had to go use backhoes and stuff like that, dig up these holes and make sure that nobody buried somebody. And plus two, we had at the time, we had found other clothing items on the ground in the same manner that Daniel clothing. And I'm saying, you guys, you don't hear this from law enforcement because Buckeye, again, let me correct myself because I told law enforcement I would do this. The Buckeye Police Department was purposely, in my opinion, cherry picking what they wanted in their report. Because if it didn't fit their narrative, they're not going to tell the public that. They're not going to even put it in their report. They're not even going to investigate it. And so we, at the time, we had things going on in the desert when we were searching. We were finding human remains. We found some clothing items on the ground in a pile, similar to what was said Daniel clothes was found. But it would belong to a heavier set guy. I'll say roughly the person probably weigh about 250 to 300 pounds. But it was a male clothing on the ground in the same manner. Everything from the person was wearing, from the underwear down to socks. So at that point, we were feeling that maybe some type of serial killers out there, and Daniel was a victim. And so later in the scheme of things, we're searching, and I could show you more pictures. I'm not, because this is a part of the things that I'm still utilizing to investigate my son's disappearance. Buckeyes don't even care about even having these things. We gave it to them, and they're not utilizing them. But anyway, this is the coordinate. I have the coordinates. Of course, I showed you guys on that map. But this is where the sock was found that matches the sock from the crime scene. And I showed you the area. But anyway, to give you a little closer view of that, if I can give in that. If you remember from the crime scene, the picture of the sock, I wish I would put that up. The probably comparison so you can see the two. You can really identify them as being the pair to the other, right? And so I put that up to show you that part, but also to show you the second well site that I want to go in to. But this is from my drone footage. I took a drone to the second well site that we were speaking about at first. I think I put the wrong one up. The first well site, that's what I want to go at. The first well, this is from the first well site. And I will show you guys the reason why I wanted to look into the well. Because after I seen all of this stuff going on, I was asking law enforcement to go in the well and make sure nobody did something to my son and threw him down in the well where he was working. And they didn't do it. They refused to do it, I guess, or didn't want to do it, or whatever the case may be. But it took a lot of pressure. When I say Buck, I finally went to put use the posse, or whatever they call those areas on the posse people, to put that to the second well site, not the well site I'm about to show you, that they saying Daniel was last seen, but the other well site that was north of that. When they did that, it took pressure for them to do it. They didn't want to do it on during the time when we need them to. They did it on an off day of the week. Myself and I took Larnell Farmer. He's a friend of mine. He's a ex-police officer. He was the West Valley NAACP president. He's also a board member of Daniel Ross Foundation, and like I say, a friend and part of the A team. And so I took him with me and another law enforcement officer who's retired as well, and we met Buckeye out there to see them do this work that I asked them to do. Also that day, they supposed to have gone to to this day they haven't done it. A prospect mine, a mine that was unmarked that we found is a vertical mine that goes straight down into the earth. To have that searched by BLM, the Bureau of Land Management. They haven't done that to this date. Excuse was that the rocks around it will damage their tires on their side, UTV. And so a lot of stuff costs money, right? So I had to be very careful with donations I get and everything else to try to make sure my operation's still going. And some things I just couldn't do, and so I had to try to lean it over to law enforcement who wouldn't do it. So that put a bit of taste in my mouth. But the thing is, I'm saying to the first well site, for you all to understand this, I want to show you the well. We're going to go down the well. I'm going to show you how deep this well is and how clear it looks. The thing I want to point out to you is this first well site where they say Daniel's job, say that's where Daniel was first missing, that he went missing from. And then I'm going to show you the well, according to Ken's story, the 1 mile west, 2 mile north, that would take you to the second well site that's north of that first one that Daniel Jobs said he was at. And you'll find all the stuff that's in it that shouldn't be there, right? And the person who had done this work for me, the company, he done this for many years, and he said those items should never been in there, and he got suspicious that somebody was utilizing that to cover up something, right? And so I will show you that one too, that video, but we're going to go through the first well site first. And then from there, we'll go to the second well site. First well site, where again, the Mason New World said Daniel went missing from. That don't match Ken's story, but it matches what his job gave me. So what I would do is go through this real quick with you all. So I'm gonna make it a little bigger so those who can't. This is going into the Trillium well site. That's number one. Trillium is a company that was buying up the land out there at the time. We had I'm trying to think of the other one. It will tip my tongues, almost like but anyway, they ended up ultimately going to Howard Hughes Corporation. Eldorado Holdings. Eldorado Holdings was responsible for a lot of this. They called it the Trillium well site. That's the area at the time. And so the first well site, you see right here, we're at 0. 0 is where we're just about to go into this well. This well is a long tube. You guys see in the picture of what it looked like on the outside. And then you go on to the inside. So I'm going to play the video. We're going to go down. I'm going to be skipping a little bit, but I'm going to talk about the depth of it. But I want you to see, these are the side walls of that tube that goes down into the well. Very clean, very clear, very, you can see this. Now, I can tell you once you get in the water, you start seeing some of those things differently, but they explain to me what those was. It's almost like bacteria that grows on the wall and things like that. That's natural for water, right? But I know some of you say, hey, this is well water. I drink this, but but some of those things are natural for the water. But this is the well when you go down into the well. Right now we at 12 feet, 13 feet. So you got kind of look at it that way. That's why you see the point, whatever it is, F being feet. So we're at 20 feet now. We're at 21 feet, 22 feet. And I'm going to skip a little bit to keep going further down. So because it's deep. So right now that's 25 feet, but now right here, let me see if I might back up because I think I went too far. I want to get to the surface of the water. That's 244 feet. So you can imagine how deep this thing is, and that's in the water. I'm gonna back it up a little bit, so I don't know exactly where I'll be at. So I'm gonna try to fish around a little bit till I get to the surface of the water, and then I want to stop there for a reason because I want to talk about the surface of the water. Again, something that the Buckeye Police Department did with that posse folks, they would travel down just like this camera is doing also. But this camera is designed to go underwater. They just had some regular camera they came up with. Then they had some makeshift string type thing they dropped down into the well. But yes, but here we go. Let me back up a little bit. And this is where we coming into the surface of the water, right at 155.4 feet, right? So 155 before you even hit the water surface. That's a lot. That's very deep. 155 feet before you even hit the water surface. He paused there a little bit because he had to readjust some things. And also at the same time, I told you the only way we was able to go down this well and get a rim, because they told us no, they didn't want to go in the well. But the only way we was able to do that is to give them a free inspection. So he was doing that as well. Wow. Now we're going down into the water at 155 feet. There's 162 feet. You see, starting to see, the bubbles and all this kind of stuff. But as we get down further, I'm gonna skip a little bit if I can, because he's gonna pull back up for a second, but then go back in there. But as we get a little deeper, he'll stop and pause because see the things like that. That's the stuff that's kind of grows on the wall of the well. Kind of look at the health of the well itself, if there's like rust and all that kind of stuff. But he said those things are normal. So he had to take pictures along the way because he's actually doing an inspection at the same time. But my ultimate goal was to find out if Daniel was thrown down in this well. But this well is so narrow. The first well site was so narrow that, excuse me, I hope there's no children here. So as it is, I want to, warn you what I'm about to say. Probably want to cover the ears or get them off. But, if you dismember someone, then put them in. I was looking for that too, right? And so my investigator told me that, of course, if a person tried to get in the well, I think that was after the fact, but somebody tried to put somebody in the well or whatever, they would have to do that just to get in that well. That well wasn't wide enough for that. So, of course, we're right here at 178 feet. Of course, he's showing some of the things on the side of the walls because, again, this is an inspection. So you'll see what that looks like. And I'm telling you again, you guys, this is drinking water from a well. And let's see, we had 185, 81. We'll go back and go a little further. And I'm trying to get down to the bottom well so you guys can see how if you go straight down, you don't see any obstructions. It is straight. Of course, you see little things floating around because, as he's going down, he's disturbing stuff. The things that you like I said on the side of the wall. I'm just trying to get down to the bottom. It's about 500 so feet down in this well. 210 where we're at now. Still continue to go down. Every so often, like I say, you have to pause, check the side of the wall, do his job, and then keep going. So I'm going to keep going down. I'm going down a little bit at a time so you can see that going down is clear. I mean, clear, the water's clear, as if when I say clear, you don't see anything in this well, right? So we're getting close to halfway midpoint or a little over midpoint of this well. He stopped again and he got to look and do all these little things he does. But if you look at the side walls, you don't see nothing but those, I think you call them like almost like barnacles in a way, but little things down in on the side walls. Let's see if I can go a little further. Of course, that's an inspection still. It's the same thing. It's always going to look the same all the way down. And this is the area right here, too, that where the groundwater actually come in at. That's why you see the little ridges are here. It's like little spaces where the water, because, underground streams, it flows into that well through those little grates or whatever you want to call it, openings down in the middle. And so he's doing that to check this well. And believe it or not, old as this well is, he says it's in good shape. So at the end of the day, but let me see if I can go down a little further. I'm trying to get down to the 500 mark, because that's what I know where this well pretty much, which I would do is just go ahead and hit the slider here. And so we can get on down. It's a slow process. Okay. We're at 455 feet near the bottom. Let me see, I'm gonna go a little bit further. And I'm trying to stop when we get at the bottom, because he did a couple things that what he does with the point of this. Okay, there we go. Let me back up a little bit. When you get down to the bottom, he's going to use the point of the that camera. It's got some little point edge on. You see that's kind of hanging. He utilized that to dig down into the dirt, right? So that's the bottom of the well, near 500 feet. I probably shouldn't say 500, but 458 feet. And that's the bottom. You see the settlement and things like that. Clear, right? You see straight down the whole round circle, circumference of the well, circle, whatever you want to call it. And you see nothing down there but the dirt, the sediment, and he gonna kind of drop the camera a little bit. And the reason why he's doing that right there, what he's doing to see if it go even further, because he told me sometimes when the dirt is built up like that, or things are built up like that, the surface, that's where he can find out if that's the true bottom, right? Because if something been poured down in there, it won't be the true bottom. That camera can go a little bit further, push through that stuff. So that's why you kind of drop. But that's it. We don't hit the bottom. So I'm saying this is 459 feet of the first well site. The one that you guys go to and you all say, oh, that's where Daniel was last seen. This is it. This is the well. All right. And so I want to show you the second well site. We're going to go ahead and jump to the next thing here. Slide, if I can, to talk about the, this is a video I did with my drone. Of course, I thank you guys for donating as well. I was able to put drones out. I've been begging for drones, but I would have the drone footage myself. So I recorded this. This is the second well site where I believe, like I said, that matches Ken's story. So I'm gonna pause it right here. This is the area. If you go south this direction, that's where it's going. If you go down this road right here, you see it travels through here and go along that way. That's how you get to the first well site. But you're coming up to the second well site where I showed you on the map. This is the little square area I was talking about. So you have all these poles sitting here, and and you have this equipment, and that's the drilling equipment. The little poles that you see on the ground, that's drilling equipment. You have the fence around it. I'm assuming to keep people from stealing or something. But when I went to this well site the first time, I first located it, I was wondering why some of the fencing was torn. It was missing, some section was missing. And I mean, when you look at it, it looked like it was taken apart halfway. But also, I want you to really pay attention to this. This is a big mound of dirt. Big mound of dirt. I mean, it's tall. If we was walking, that's pretty much us walking there. I'd probably be standing there holding the controller for the drone. But you walk up to the mound, it's pretty high. So it's really, logical for me to say that when I talked about this dirt that's down in that well, and I'm tell you why, it came from this place. It came from this place. People say, where all that dirt come from? It come from here. I'm sure that dirt used to be down in there and came up here when they were drilling this well in the first place, right? And they put it there. So, but it also been put back in there to cover up something this way it looks to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this drone footage. So I'm kind of flying over, and I'm showing the area, and I'm pausing right here too. If I can go back just a little, 10 seconds, and I'm gonna pause it, but I was gonna throw in a little something real quick. So I'll say like this, you guys. So people ask the question, say, okay, why do it take you so long to search the desert? This is us. This is area that we did search, all this area here. This is part of the Wagner Wash that goes through here. This is called a Wagner Wash. Water actually runs through here when they have rainy season and stuff like that. Then you have the Hassayapa River somewhere up in that area. And then you can barely see these power lines back up there. That's an aqueduct down that way where they have a canal that runs through. But to get from this point to over there is, I mean, it is tremendous, right? But to get from here to that mountain that you think you can see is even further, right? You probably wouldn't get to it. But the point is, I'm saying is to people who really want to understand why it took me so long from a person that say Daniel was at this well site. If he went that direction, he went that direction, with that direction, that, you know, it's all kind of possible direction angles he could have gone out from this one point, right? How are you able to search all that point and find him out there somewhere on the ground? I'll use an example. And then you have the brush to get to account for. If you was to zoom in, you can see right here ravines. You got things to hide that hides under. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. So that's what I'm saying. It's a major feat to actually go search. But and the crazy part is we didn't have the equipment that law enforcement had, like some of the things I wanted on the drone, to the infrared systems and things like that, can see heat signatures and changes in the ground and all this kind of stuff that we was asking for at the front of when Daniel went missing, to increase the chances of finding him with those technologies, right? And they wouldn't do it. So that was lost time. But to go back over this video again, that just kind of to show you what this well site looked. So I can go ahead and skip over that because it's going to just pretty much, but this you can see a closer look at the well site. There's some type of equipment there. I think it's a kind of pump. And also this is the well here, but it's wide enough for a person to drop straight down in there if you was to be able to see that well a lot closer. Let's see if I can do that. But you see what I'm saying? The fencing are missing. It was torn down, and especially on the sides here is intact. But you see right up in here, you'll see some of the fencing missing. And also, there's a wood structure right here that holds these pipes up. You see the wood structure that's going across here. I'm assuming that there's one here, there's one there. There should have been one here. You know, there's one laying here. But some of the wood structure is missing. And then one of the poles that goes through here is missing. You know, there's got a section here that's missing. And also you have the other drilling. So you probably see like almost like a drill bit there. This all the stuff that they use. I would say Weber Waterworks or whoever that can work for the company utilize this stuff to drill the wells, right? And so when I went to go have this well searched, you take the top off. Like I said, if you're standing there, you can see how a person just drops straight on down in there. And so I wanted the Buckeye Police Department to search this well the correct way. Search this well and, you know, make sure that my son wasn't put down in this well. Again, like I said, if you follow Ken's story, that Buckeye, in my opinion, purposely don't want to investigate, it would take you to this well site, not the first one. So having said that, some more views, but we're going to go ahead and go, and this is that pile of dirt I was talking about, and we're going to go ahead and go into this well real quick so I can jump off this live stream and answer some of your questions. But we'll jump into this well site and talk about those. All right, if I can get it play here. Let's see if I can get this up. My hard drive is moving a little slow this time. But while it's going up, I'll talk about that. But like I said, I wanted to make sure that we're putting that up for you guys. Let me see if I can get this going. You know, now jump back on that. But yeah, just want to go ahead and put that out because you know that's the important part of the case. Just getting Buckeye to just follow the leads. You know, they'll be really quick into the public and say, well, there's no more leads to follow. There's no more leads to follow because you're not looking for the leads. You're not following the leads that's available to you. And that's the problem. And so for me and my family, that's what we're arguing when it comes to getting law enforcement to do Daniel's, to investigate Daniel's disappearance properly, to actually fight for, to look for these leads that's out there. So we do have the leads. It's just that we need to get law enforcement to follow up on those leads. And so having said that, let's see if I can get this up again, get it going. Let's see here. You know, it's always like that when you want to do something. Sometimes you're I lose a little. But here we go. Let's go ahead and do this. And so you guys can understand this. But this is Trillium 2, right? To well site. Well, this should be 2. Let me see, make sure it's the right one I got. Let me see, double check. I have to double check this because I don't want to put the wrong one up there and we're looking at the same well. Let me see here. It sure was. Okay, let's go ahead and do this, get this right here going. All right, there we go. This will be the second well site for you all. And once they come up here, let's see if I can get this thing going right. Have a little problem getting it going, but we'll get it. We'll get it together here. But the second well site, like I said, I just want to show you how, first of all, how deep it is. And then you can remember the first well site. And I want you to remember how, when I was speaking about it, how clear, when you take that well site and you look how clear everything was when you're going down. There was no obstructions. We did see, again, let me see, I think I got it now. This is the second well site, but let me pause real quick. But you did see how it started off really clean. It should look that way all the way down to the surface of the water, first of all. And then once it get past the surface of the water, you see how the other well site was. It should, how I want to say, it should be, the little stuff on the side of all the barnacles or whatever you call them. I'm trying to think that was the name or something he told me, but it's natural. It's natural for that type of. But they also said they look for metal-eating bacteria, and so that's the concern that he was looking for in that inspection. So we're gonna go ahead and go down as well, and start off the right way. 0, we're at 0 feet. We're down to 1 feet. We're down to 2 feet. But he's gonna to save you guys the trouble. This one's gonna be a little longer. That's why you see it say an hour, because he had a difficulty once we got to the water level, and I'm gonna go ahead and skip down to the water level as fast as I can. So you'll see me do little skips here to get down further into this well. And I hope my hard drive really cooperate with me. So I'm running this off my hard drive, and my hard drive is getting a little older, so I had to go ahead and get that swapped out as well, because I see it slowing down in its movements. But definitely while I was doing that, we're going to just keep trying as best to get down as far as I can in the well. You see how it started kind of a little rusty looking in a sense as you get down to what this is 38 feet in that well. Let's see if I can keep it going. Let's see. All right, well, now we're at 72 feet. And let's see, I'm trying to guess this distance. And if not, I have to back up, I would back up. But I want to get to the water surface, and we're going to talk about the surface real quick. And please bear in with me with the slow hard drive I have. So we get those things worked out with that as well. Okay, there we go. That's the surface of the water. We're coming to, and I'm gonna stop here because he's gonna pull it all the way out. Like I said, it's gonna be a long term, because when he hit the surface of water, he had to redo something because he saw something at the surface of water, and he had to readjust, things to get past this water surface. But having said that, this is the weird part of me. At 104 feet so far, we're not even at the water surface, but we're getting to the water surface now. I can't say what happened is he's actually, I remember this. He was wanting to come down at a right angle. He had to come down straight down the center, so that's why he's pulling back out, and then he's going to have to drop it back in again. So what I'm going to have to do is keep fast forwarding until we get down to the water surface. And when he's going down in this this well. But I do see your comments there, everyone. Those who are following, I really appreciate you being here. I have over 252 people watching right now, so I really appreciate you joining in on this live stream. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone who's been supporting me from day one. See how the camera moving. He had to. That's the reason why he had some little issues with the well at first, trying to get the camera steady to go straight down. And so he had to end up pulling in and out. So I'm going to keep fishing until I get down to this water surface. And I pretty much remember when he actually going inside that. But I want to say again, thank you everybody who's been supporting me from, we'll come back to it once I get to the water surface. But everyone who's been supporting me from day one, is searching for Daniel, doing everything I can to fight for him, and that's something I'm continuing to do. But I need people's help because I'm doing multiple things at once, not just one thing. If you if you're watching the YouTube channel, not YouTube as well, but watching the Instagram and Facebook and stuff, you saw that I did one video earlier at 6 o'clock for different purpose, different reason, and then I jumping on this, and so I'm a person that's doing multiple things at one time, and so sometimes those things can kind of run off together. So I really appreciate you all helping much as you can and supporting, because I need that to make everything I do possible, because it'd be impossible to do everything I do and and try to keep pushing forward. A lot of times I had to end up even encouraging myself. Sometimes you want to quit. I have people that quit on me too. Believe it or not, I have people who will work with you but end up leaving. And so let me go. I'm right here where I need to be. So I'm going to put this back up here for you all to see this. And this is 168 feet where the water level comes in at. And he was shocked when he see that. That's why he had to keep pulling in and out. So now he had to get a point where, what this doing down in here? Now, remember I told you it was a straight shot to the water surface and a straight shot to the bottom. So when he made it to the water surface is right here, he seen all of this stuff. And that was shocking to him because he had never seen that before. And mind you, he has been doing this for many years. And he said, this stuff don't belong there. First, he didn't know really what it was. So he was going to try to work his way, how I want to explain it, because I'm going to have to skip all of this, around the sides. He said, whatever this is, I'm working in this way. So he took the camera down, he pulled it back up to orient the camera to come straight down to this point, thinking that he can go straight down. But then when he went straight down, he was stopped by this right here. This would end up being one of those pipes that you saw on the ground that was missing out there. That was what it turned out to be. And also the wood structure I was pointing out that should have been on top was the only thing that kept this pipe right here from hitting the bottom. So I will explain that to you. So what you have to do is to understand it is you have to make it to the bottom first and then work its way backwards and say what happened first. So what happened first is at the bottom, then it works its way up to what happened last. And what's going to end up happening is this right here is going to be what happened last, right? So and so it's to me it's a way to seal the well site, so whatever's at the bottom couldn't be found. That's the way I took it. And so that's hindsight. This is hindsight. But at the time I was out there with him putting his camera in. He had this big screen. We was watching this thing while he was doing it. And so this is where we at this point, 167 feet, trying to figure out a way to get past this, or if he could get past it at all, at the time. So he couldn't get on the side. So now you're going to try to go through the center, right? Center of the pole and work his way in as well through the center of this pole that's sitting there in that well. And so you'll think at this point that maybe this is how deep the well is. Whatever this is sitting at the bottom of the well, and that's how deep the well is. Well, that was from my non-expert opinion, right? So I'm gonna see if I can skip ahead without going too far. But imagine I'm telling you we're gonna go through this up and down quite a bit until he figure out a way to get past this point. So while this hard drive is doing what it need to do, I'm going to keep trying my best to get it going, but I'll continue to talk as well. And to do something, I probably would go ahead and look at some of the comments that you all have and throw that on the screen. Okay, well, there we go. All right. So now he's still trying to find a way. He went through the center, couldn't get the center. Now he's trying to go through the side. He uses things, and so you hear the starlight. Starlight is the little camera, the light that goes on the other end of that little circle, so you can see a lot clearer, right? And so let me see. Once we get past all of this, let me see if I can get y'all to a point we can get past all of this so you can see what this is, and I can point it out. So let me go ahead and do that while it's trying to load. But thank you so much, Maltese, for being here. Say, where does the water from the particular well flow out of flow to and inspect that. Just an idea where it goes flow out to. It goes down to Buckeye, and so like I told you on that map, all of these areas are very connected. So, but he gonna go to the side, and if I was getting it down in this water, he had to end up going down the center of this pole. But I was gonna show you when he went down to the side, trying to go through the side of this pole, what was holding that pole up, so you guys can understand what I was talking about before he had to end up going through the pole, the center of that pole, to get to the bottom of this well, right? But to answer your question, where do the water? Like I said, this is an area. All of this is the area of the Buckeye area, but all of that water is connected. Phoenix, Arizona is affected by what's happening out there in that area. So that's why the Arizona State University was really concerned about this project being built in the first place, taking away water. Of course, they have water rights and all the stuff going on. And so sometimes, everybody does a desert state, so they need groundwater. And, you can't over utilize the water that's there if it's not going to be able to recharge that 100-year mark that charge itself within that 100 years. So it got to be enough water supply to last people who's living in these communities, living in Phoenix, living in Buckeye, living in Surprise, Goodyear, you name it. But they connected. They connected. He's pulling back out because I think I'm trying to get to the point where he was able to see what was holding this pole up, and I want you guys to see the wood that was holding up. It's almost like the wood is thick almost like a train truss. So if you're riding over a train track and you see the wood that's actually holding that metal up, the tracks itself, it's just like that. But it's like a smaller piece, broken up. And it was thrown down in there. I guess thought the weight was going to do it, but then that pole was thrown in it afterwards, and then that wood got caught the pole and kept it from going further down. So that's what that come from. Okay, so now what happened is I went too far. Let's see if I can go back just a tad. Hold on a second. No, he's coming back in again. Let's see if we can get this thing right. I wish this hard drive was moving a little faster because I wanted to get past this tonight. I thought it would, and when the practice run, it was running pretty good. But you know how things is when you're actually working on it, it don't want to cooperate the way you want it to do. But like I said, just the water itself. A lot of people focus on the water, say, hey, that may be some reason that Daniel ran into some issues out there, and possibly so. I still explore those things, but there's a lot of other stuff too that we need to think about when it comes to possible reasons for Daniel, going missing out there. And so see how he's getting closer to the wall. So this time I think he's going to actually make it past this point and to be able to see if he can get past that pole from the outside, and then he had to end up going through the center. But I really hope I get to show you guys the structure that's actually holding that pole up. But I don't think so. I'm trying to make sure if I can get that. But it was trial and error to try to get past. It took some time. Let's see if I get it going. But let me go ahead and go ahead into one of the other questions if I can get that while this is going. Thank you, criminals hate me. Thanks so much for being here. And it is part of my theory about what could possibly has happened to Daniel. I'm assuming you had a message before that one. So thanks so much. Let's see. You asked, okay, there we go. That's the structure. Let me pause it right here. This is a structure I was talking about. If I can go, let's see if I can go back 10. Let's see. But you see all those bricks at the bottom of the well, like someone threw down to see the depth. And I can tell you before we went down into the well, many times while we were searching around that first, if you must be speaking about the first well site that I showed you. Yes, we're throwing things down there, and I said I even wanted to know how deep it was. And I remember a couple times we had the lid taken off and we dropped, but little pebbles about this size, but not a brick, but little pebbles on the side, just to hear when that pebble would hit the water. And you can actually hear the clean, 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 clean. It takes forever, it seemed like, And so to try to get an idea, we kind of figured it was about 500 feet, is to drop in kind of, 1,000 to, and then to get an idea how deep it was. So, and so yes, you probably would find things like pebbles and not a problem necessarily a brick, but that did kind of look like a brick was down in there. But I don't think there was too many bricks during that time before the development started. I didn't see any bricks out there in that desert. But this is the wood structure I was speaking of right here, right? It's like a train trestle thickness of the wood, right? And that's what blocked that pole from going all the way down. It got large going across like sideways, so it got stuck in there. So when they put the pole in there, the pole landed right on it and couldn't go past it, right? And so the pole is stuck there, been kind of suspended. And so that's where that comes from. So I just wanted to pause on that to kind of point that out, because he's gonna go back out because he can't get past. You see, he can't get past that. You see the pole right here, actually being stopped by that, but that still tell you how wide this well is, because you're able to get the pole in and still have a space on the sides. So now, now he's gonna go down in the center part. So excuse me, I drink a little bit of water here. Everyone, give me a quick second. Okay. All right. All right. Now we're at 188 feet, but we're past the wood structure. Again, like I told you from the first well site, if you look at the difference between that well site and look at the walls of this well site, you start to see a whole bunch of um, fragments and stuff like that. Excuse me, everyone. I'm choking a little bit. I had to get myself together there. But you see a lot of fragments and stuff like that in the water, right? You start to see that a lot, right? When we went down the first well site, you didn't see this much stuff floating around the water. I was asking him that. He thought that was really different too, but he assumed that maybe it was a lot of sediments that was just kind of floating around from the side walls. But then as he was going down, he noticed that it also was, if you look at here, you can see all the wood structure, you see all of this, a lot of dirt, right? Those are dirt particles. So I'm gonna see if I can make it all the way down, because it's a lot. It's a bit long travel. At the same time, I'm going to answer some of the questions if I can get them. That's probably a good idea while I'm waiting on this thing to move so slow. Let me see if I can have any questions. I can go back to some of the questions I had at the beginning. Then I work my way back down to start questions. Let's go with that first. Oh, that's 298 feet. I'm going ahead and let that run. I'm asking questions really quick. Question: when you had recovered your son's Jeep in a ravine, excuse me, had you checked to see if Daniel had used the special key on the roof panel to get out during the crash? And that's the thing. I'm glad you put that out, Zodiac. And I know who you are, Zodiac. So thank you so much. When I start thinking about it, Buckeye said to me as a family member, we have 327 feet, but look, I want everyone to pay attention to the walls, how dirty it is and how different it is. Remember I was showing you the other wall, or the other well had little barnacles on here and there, but it wasn't like this, right? And that's because this well has been treated a lot different, and you'll see the reason why once we get down further. The other well site was close to 500 feet. This one was twice that, so it takes a while. So I'm going to go ahead and do this while that's going on. We'll talk about, you see some of the wood structure that actually started floating down from that wood that was blocking. and you'll see the thing called Starlight coming on a little bit. So he still had to do inspection and all the stuff. This well right here is in a real bad shape. So he's doing utilize. You'll see the thing say Starlight, and he's doing his stuff. But to answer that question, Zodiac, I was told by the Buckeye Police Department when they did the initial explanation of what they say they believe happened to Daniel. And one of the things they pointed out after they said, oh, the vehicle flipped the roll and all the stuff, and he had a seatbelt on and all those things, they said he kicked his way out of the sunroof. Then they explained the glass on the ground that we saw in that one of the smaller section as the glass of the sunroof is what they told me. A father, a parent who needed help answers for their son. The Buckeye Police Department didn't care to find out information about the vehicle before telling the family anything. They didn't care about actually doing police work to really, before they opened their mouth to the family, to say that what they are saying is credible, is realistic, and all of that, right? They haven't even bothered about doing that. And he told me that they believe Daniel kicked his way out of the sunroof. That's why the glass is on the ground, right? First of all, say there was glass on the vehicle. That's what he's saying. If he's saying he clicked his way through the glass, and that's why the glass on the ground. He came through the sunroof. And I can tell you, Jeep Renegades, and you already know the Zodiac. Yes, question. Jeep Renegades do not have sunroof glass. It's a Jeep Renegade. They have panels. And they say he kicked his way, even if you want to say he kicked his way out of the panel, that's a metal panel. And the only way you can remove those panels to have a sunroof in the Jeep Renegade is what you're speaking of, Zodiac, is a key. It's a special key that opens that panel. That's the only way that panel can open. And it's on the back of the vehicle. To tell you where it's at, what I read, Zodiac, is under the area where the spare tire in the back of the vehicle, the hatch area. That's where you find the key for the sunroof, for that the hatch. And so my argument was that he had to kick through. I know my son's strong and everything, but he had to kick his way through that metal sunroof to get out. And then again, you look at the scene and you see somehow that same metal roof that he kicked out after the vehicle's lying on the side is stuck up under the front end of the vehicle. So Buckeye Police Department initially saying my son kicked his way out of the sunroof, glass or not, took the panel once he got out, lifted the vehicle with his left hand because he don't have a right one, and stuck the panel up on the front end and then let the vehicle back down on it. And so it's things like that I get angry about. And I said, and every time I talk about my son's story, I do really get angry at the Buckeye Police Department because I hear, and what irks me to my nerves, I hear the FBI, the field office who's glorified police. And I'm just speaking of only Phoenix Police Department, Akil or whoever is in charge over there now. And their glorified police officers could give a damn about actually doing the work, but also part of that blue thing. And that's the culture that we have to get past when certain departments decide to honor code blue instead of the people that they're actually serving. Just like some things I'm doing, I'm not going to mention tonight because they ain't got nothing to do with that. But when you dealing with people, you actually serving people, not your ideals or whatever the case may be. So instead of doing the work, that's why I tell people all the time, I don't care about their feelings. I care about them doing their work. And so instead of them doing their work, I'm talking to the FBI over there in the Phoenix department, field office. Instead of doing their work, they're going to side with law enforcement, Buckeye Police Department, who haven't done the work. And then I hear some of these people who comes even on my live stream, and they'll say Buckeye did a good job based on what they read in that bogus, I call it, police report. Things that didn't happen like that on the ground. So the things I'm describing to you, you don't read it in the reports. You don't see these kind of things when I'm doing right here in the report because it don't fit their narrative to not do anything. So they could pat themselves on the back and say, man, we did a lot of searches. And those searches only done because I forced them to do it. Or we did XYZ. It was only done because I forced them to do it. So, and then the things they have done was been minimal compared to things I had done in my son's case. So that's what I'm talking about is not good police work. So when people say that, it really angers me. It really irritates me because it took a lot. It took a lot of my life. It took a lot of me to be a father who should be grieving and never had a time to really grieve my own son's disappearance because I had to be so invested into keeping the story alive, doing what I'm doing right now tonight, investigating my own son's disappearance, spending money that I don't have as a retired military guy, asking you guys for donations and just to get things going, keep things going. So it irritates me. So that's what I'm saying. That's my sentiment. I'm kind of going off the wall on that, but that's my sentiment. So to get back to this, really quick, Zodiac, that's what I'm saying. You're right. There's for that roof is a panel, and you have to use a special key for that. Keisha, thanks so much for that and moderating again. Yes, did you receive results from the items at 1,000 feet well? No, I have not. You guys will not see. The only thing you'll see about that report in the Buckeye Police Department report, again, if it don't fit their narrative or I would say cover up, then you're not going to hear about it. They were forced because I put the media on them. After I did this video, after you see this video right here that you're looking at tonight, I kept showing it. I went to the to some forensic departments at universities, even Arizona State University as well, who would look at it and they would say, yes, the FBI need to be in this because what you're going to see at the bottom as well, very well could have been a human skull, the top of the human skull, and so on and so on. And then I'm explaining to you from common sense. I sometimes I think about people would look at me as a father and say, well, the police would know how to read evidence. I would say, no, that's not necessarily true. What I'll say is I'm just as educated as they are. Whether they went to some detectives class or school or whatever they do in the police department, I have a thing called common sense. A lot of things is common sense, first of all. A lot of things is just what it is, what you see. And so what I'm saying, the argument I have on that is, if anytime when I'm just going to do something very simple, you're saying you're a detective and you're investigating a case, and your prime suspect is not the last person that's seen this person, you got a problem as being a detective, in my opinion. That sure should be scrutinized, and this person still missing scrutinized. The phone records should have been pulled, the data from where they were located when they say this happened, and I mean all of that should have been done. They want to bring up the young lady. They should have had the camera footage to prove to say my son was actually did what they said. She said he did, or whatever the case may be, and that's not police work, you know. And those are simple things, don't even cost money. Because if I can go ask somebody a question and just get a camera footage, how's that costing money for the department? That's called just doing your work. But yeah, to answer your question, no, they haven't done anything. When they went in this well site that you guys see right now, and the stuff I'm going to show you, when the Buckeye Police Department came out of this well, they was angry because I've had them go down in this well behind me. Instead of taking this footage I got right here, we already have, they went behind me, right? This is what they did. They said they was going to do it. And what they did is they went behind me. When I say behind me, they made sure they didn't alert me, so I won't be in out there on that scene with them because they knew I was coming. They did this before when they did that Civil Air Patrol search too. They went out there on their own without alerting me, which they said they was going to do, and they went down in this well for the second time, and they pulled whatever all the stuff I'm going to show you out of there. But then when they showed you the public, and I'm going to show you the pictures one day, I'm going to bring that on my next live next week. What I said equated to pocket change. So all the stuff I'm going to show you, they're not going to have it on their video because it don't fit their narrative. What they're going to show you is on a little metal thing, whatever they had. You're going to see like a screw here and a little circle of metal bolt here. And they said, that's all we found in this well. Don't that sound like a cover up to you? So, and I have video footage right here of that well, of the stuff that was in that well. And I explained to using common sense how this person work your way from the bottom to the top is how all of this stuff that you see floating around right now looking different from that well, you haven't cleared up yet. How all of this came to be. Just use common sense. All right. And Barbie question, was it a core drill company? I think I answered this one, water well. drilling company. Yes, Weber Waterworks Ken Company is a well drilling company. Also, they're a recovery company too. They can pull things in. They can put things in and pull things out. So I want to say that too. All right. So let's go back to this video for a while and I'll answer some more questions shortly. If y'all have any, and I'll check the Instagram once I say I'm going to the Q&A session. Please, again, put the letter Q, capital letter Q, the question mark, or the word question before your question, because I'm at that point I'm going to go straight down the comment section and just look for that. But we're at 585 feet. You see how dirty this well is. Again, that's the grates where the water comes in through the groundwater. But ultimately, this well is a lot different. If you look at the surface of the sidewalls of this well, you see how I think a lot of stuff collected on that. So that's what I was talking about. When you see the difference on that first well site I showed you versus the second well site, you got to say something been going on as well. That's a lot different from the first well site, though both of them been created at the same time, around the same time. The well sites in this area have been created at the same time, with same year, same month, probably, those type deals. You see, we had 622 feet. Remember, the other well site was close to 500 feet, but we're still going. So I'm trying to get down to the bottom, because I'm trying to get down to the area where I want y'all to see. So I'm going to skip ahead and see if I can get it going. I hope I can get it there close, because we get close. I'm at 1 hour and 31 minutes of, and I really appreciate it. I'm up to over 300 viewers. So I really appreciate you guys sticking in here with me. Thanks so much. I guess I'll wait till this load up again, get to moving. I'll just let it run. I'm trying to wish I can rush it a little faster. Every time I push it a little faster, it pauses on me. So I will see if I can find any more questions. And if you're on Instagram, I have to do that. Definitely have to do it after I get to that point, because I have to swap screens and y'all looking at the screen that I use to look at everybody on Instagram. So please hang in there with me. All right, so let's see if I have any questions on this other end. All right, that's 738 feet. All right. Oh, I have one here. Yes, Cami, Downey, thanks so much for being here. The sock, you asked about the sock. And you say sock found, but no shoes. Yes, the shoes, to explain that again. When you saw that sock that I was speaking of, that sock was found between points, but nearer to the first well site. And the second sock was found on July 19th. Okay, I can put it in this way. July 19th, the vehicle showed up. July 19th and July 20th was when I was aware of the vehicle showing up. But what I got from the Buckeye Police Department on the 19th, what the picture that you saw at that crime scene was the pictures that Buckeye took, or out of the rancher took. So I have a bunch of pictures. And on that scene, on that crime scene, was everything Daniel's wearing, from his underwear down to his sock. But I would just say sock, like plural. Singular. Sock. There's one sock, and not plural, because it is only one sock, right? And so the other sock is found some days after, when I hired a private investigator. I say, well, thinking like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, hired a private investigator who ended up coming to searches. And when he came out to my searches out there, him and his team, I used to rent 8 UT what's called quads for them, and they go out and do their thing, their own little thing, investigate it. And my investigator, looking around that well site area, doing whatever he does, found that sock, the other sock that should have been at that crime scene, if they so-called claim that Daniel took his clothes off and put it in that pile, right? And took his socks off too, I guess. That sock should have been with that other sock. But no, it was found at near the well site is what the way to explain that. So that's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm saying. Those two socks, no, it wasn't the shoes that was found at the anything that Daniel wears shoes wise, they say it was the boots. One boot was tucked up under the front end of the vehicle along with that panel I was talking about from the sunroof. And the other shoe was on the other side of the vehicle, closer to the wheels. So, I mean, or the boot. Those boots. Those his working boots. They you know, that was found at the crime scene. So there was, but it wasn't with the other sock. The boots was with the crime scene. So that I hope I explained that correctly. All right. Let's see here. I saw you say something, Keisha. I'm looking for questions. I'm trying to work my way with this, and I'm waiting to instead of keep pushing. I'm gonna see if I can wait till to get down there on his own because every time I try, the video pauses. Let's see here. I think I seen a question. I do want to throw out something real quick though. When you said that, Keisha, you're right. You said yes. PM. I think you talked PM channel. I agree. We would have never known about Daniel. You're right, and I'm assuming PM channel. You probably was speaking about the fact that once that vehicle showed up, the Buckeye Police Department, like the next day, told me if I didn't get Daniel's vehicle out of their compound, they will have it towed away. And this is good police work. Y'all say they haven't done any forensic work. They haven't done any investigation on the crime scene. Excuse me. They didn't do an investigation on the crime scene. They just said to me, Mr. Rallo, we found your son's vehicle. They brought me there. They even let me in the building, put his stuff on the hood of his truck, explained what he felt at the scene, took me to the compound where the vehicle was stored. After I saw it, emotional state, telling me, and I took it as a threat. That's how I felt, like I was threatened. If you don't get it out of here today, we're gonna have it towed away. So I'm scrambling in my brain trying to figure out who I'm gonna get. And I don't know nothing about Dane's vehicle, who the creditors were, and all this stuff to get out of that place. But I told him, can you give me 3 days? Felt like I was begging a grown man for 3 days. He said he finally agreed, yes, let me keep it there for 3 days. I called him back, asked him, can he put a tarp on it? Because I heard it's supposed to be raining possibly. And then from that point, I just so happened to have a meeting with Chief Hall, because I was friends with then I can say it now, but he don't work in the department any longer, but the then assistant chief of Tempe Police Department, he and I was friends, and that became friends sometime before. And he helped set the arrangement up with Chief Hall to have a meeting. And so in that meeting, I talked to this whole police department, the whole detective staff, and you name it. Found out they doing the forensic work. Found out they didn't do anything. I demanded some type of forensic work. That's why y'all heard about this swabbing of this and that. And they gave me the police report. It was a partial police report, and I was like, they said, we're gonna give you the pictures. Say they'll give me all the pictures, everything from what they did at that scene. There was no helicopter footage because there was no helicopter out there, because he said doing all that, but there was no footage, nothing. Matter of fact, he didn't mention all of that. Detective Biffin did. He was saying something crazy. Oh, we had helicopters, low flying helicopters. If you hold your hands up like this, you can touch the bottom of the helicopter how low they was flying, or something to that effect. This to me was like marking me. And Chief Hall gave me half of the report, and he said when Detective Biffin finished the report, finalized the report, the other half of it, because he's gonna write some more stuff on it. He's gonna give me the full report, and they'll be done. And they did that. They gave me the full report, just like he said. They gave me all the pictures, gave me a thumb drive with all the pictures and that full report. He said that's it. They told me that there was no more leads to follow. Pretty much, Mr. Robinson, you can go back to Columbia, South Carolina, where you're from. The case is done. It went so far as when I was satisfied with that, I hired my own private investigator who saw something different from just looking at the pictures, as the reconstructions. And he went to examine the vehicle and everything else. Where's the vehicle? I told him it's still in the apartment. I had them to do forensic stuff on it. I knew the swabbing. As for fingerprinting, they said swabbing the steering wheel shifter and door handle. He went up there just to get the black box data and everything else, and then pull the vehicle out of there, see if it's finished. They said it was finished. And so what I'm saying is they told him directly they're not investigating, and it was over. The only thing that kept Daniel's story open, and the reason why you hear it still, everybody having in the public, is because Daniel has a father who pushed it. I was working really hard for 3 months to get Daniel's story on a national stage, and I did that. And, so when I say I did that, I give glory to God first, because a lot of families do not get the opportunity. But I was able to push that really hard. I didn't get any sleep. I luckily get 2 or 3 hours of sleep, if that, and really pushing the day and night, and got Daniel's story on a stage where it was carried. Like you said, Keisha, and the PM channel, if that wouldn't have happened, I would have took what they gave me. They gave me the vehicle, the clothing, everything from the scene, everything. And they put it in the trunk of my car. If I would have left Phoenix, Arizona at the time, from that hotel room and drove all the way back here to South Carolina, y'all would have never heard of Daniel Robinson. And so that's the point I'm making. And again, the ones who's listening to me and they say the Buckeye Police did a good work, I disagree. So here we go. 892 feet. We're still going down. I want to get to the points because it's a really crucial and point to get to this fencing. So I'm gonna skip ahead. If I go past it, I'm gonna have to back up again and try to find it. I just wish this hard drive was cooperating with me the night, because usually it moves really fast and do what I need it to do. But what I want to say is, I'm really pushing this one so you guys can understand. I did it before. Previous videos. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna have to back up now because that's the fence poles I want to show you guys, because I have to explain it as you're going down. I have to literally explain what I see, and you all can tell me from common sense what that means to you. And I want you to play once I get to the bottom. Then I want you to play everything that I showed you in your mind backwards, and it tells a full story of how what you see right here is a fence post, how it got down there, and possibly why I got there, some of the theories that I have, or why I got down there, and why it appears more of a cover-up than anything else, to bury something, to weigh something down, to you name it. And the reason why I see it this way, and why I feel the Buckeye Police Department obviously covering up or just don't care. And so, because, and also they haven't produced the fence posts. They haven't produced the poles. They haven't produced the stuff that I'm going to point out. But here we go. This is a fence post. You see this at the beginning of the point. When he first saw that, he paused. He's like, what is that? All right, we're looking at it. This is a fence post. What it's going to eventually be is one of the fence posts I showed you with that if you're watching the first part of my live stream, when I was showing you the outside of this well and had the fence around it. And I said, well, section that fence was, the pole was pulled off and torn off, right? And then it was, I showed you the dirt mound that's taller than we are. And I showed you one of the pipes that was missing, and the wood trussel, or I guess what you call it, whatever you call it, that was missing as well. I mean, you would never know it's missing, but then you know where the wood come from. So to give you a recap a little bit, when we was going down the well, we got to the surface of water. The operator, he had to stop, try to figure out a way to get around a pole that he saw sitting in the water. He thought that was strange. It shouldn't be there. Why is there? How to get there? All the stuff we talked about. We don't have no audio to this video. That's what we talked about. He was telling me that. So now he's trying to figure out how to get around it. He thought it was strange for even having something in there, because it goes straight down. He said all his wells he go to in Arizona, always straight, nothing in it, just straight down like you saw that first well site. That is what happens when you go search. It's always that way. So when he saw this one, he thought that was strange. Made his way around it. We all saw that. We saw that there was a pole, a long pole, and there was a wood that stopped the pole from making it down to the bottom. But you could tell the intentions were to get that wood to go straight down the bottom, and also get that big long pole down the bottom, right? But that wood stopped it. Made his way around it. We're down to 942 feet. This is a real deep well. Yeah, I'm telling you guys. And almost 1,000 feet deep. And when you get to this point, 942 feet, you see this pole sitting here. And let me see if I can make this picture a little big because I think it's more important for everyone to see this a little clearer. I'm looking at you on the YouTube side and make sure. But you can see the pole here, right? You see the pole here. That is a fence post. Now, I feel that all the dirt that you see floating around, all the particles and all that stuff come from that mound. And I'm tell you the reason why I say that, because first of all, he was trying to figure, he was doing an assessment of the well. He see that this well is in a real bad shape. It has all this stuff coating the outside of that pole. You remember the first well site is more clearer. You probably find little vulnerable things, whatever you say, whatever you call it here and there. That's natural. That's what happens. But make sure there's not no type of metal-eating bacteria. That's what he's telling me, this and that stuff. But when you got this well, it was like, wow, what's all of this? Right? You can't even see the metal of the well itself. All this dirt was thrown down in there. But here you go. We're going to keep going. And you'll see here, and I'm trying to see if we let it go ahead and ride because I don't want to pause it too much. But he tried to identify it first, and then we said, hey, it's some type of pole. Now here it is, another pole. The reason why we found out it was a fence post, because when you go a little further, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to explain to you about the dirt as well, what I've seen, what I think about it. He's still trying his best to see if he can look at the side walls and see any, for the inspection state. But then, see, this is the fence post. But see all this dirt coating that fence post? That's because the fence post been down there first. And then the fence post, if anybody have, and I'm going to pause right here for a second, anybody have ever put up a metal fence or even a wooden fence? I've done it. Matter of fact, I do it around my property for, I had to come back home while I was in Arizona. I had to come back home because when the fence was falling, wooden fence, I had to rebuild a fence on one side. But what you do is the fence post, you have to have cement. First of all, you got to dig all the old cement out and pull that out, and you have to put this post down in the cement. Put the post down and put cement around it and let it harden, right? And then you cover it up with the earth, right? So that was pulled out as well, up on the ground level. If I show you some pictures later on, that was pulled out too. So we got the fence post with this big, heavy cement block on the bottom of it, right? So that's what this post, how I was able to make it all the way down to the bottom. I'm sure it got weight. So when you go down this pole right here, he's gonna go down the side, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna talk about it, start over again, but then you start thinking about what I'm saying in the backward standpoint. Now I'm paused right here. If I can back up, I'm gonna let it play. I think I'm gonna see it again anyway. But this is the part where the pole goes down in the ground, and you have the other side, almost like a T, right? You got the pole go straight down to the earth. Then you got the other section that goes across, right, where that holds the springy part, I guess, on the poles, right? So it had to connect to this part here. The little other pole had to go into this joint right here, and it makes like a, I don't know what shape to say, or L or something like that. You get the gist what I'm saying. So that's what this is. This is the part that the other part of the pole will go into the socket right here, right? But when you start looking at this pole, I'm going to show you an example. He kind of knocked some of the stuff down. All they see debris. That's coming from over the top. This is all in this water. That lets you know dirt was thrown, like mounds of dirt was thrown in here. That's why all this water looking the way it does. All the stuff floating around even more so. But look at this pole. What you see is a whole bunch of dirt, right? That's still on the pole. But when you get to this point right here, where that little T-junction part, what I say, where that connect to the socket is, right here. This being the way I look at it, this pole been in there first. Now, I'm saying from this point. There's some other things been in there first, though. But from this point, you got to say, okay, the pole is in here first. Then you got, going further up, you got that wood structure that stopped the pole. That was second. Then you got the big old pole itself. That was third, right? But somewhere before that wood structure and somewhere before the pole, there was also some dirt there. So then I say the pole's there first, then you got dirt, then you got the wood, then you got the pole, right? So, and the reason why I say this, because if you look at this dirt, it's a mound of dirt. So if something's sitting here and dirt is falling down, it's going to make a mound and start running around the sides until it get to the bottom. So that's the reason why it's a mound sitting on top of this flat surface part of that pole. So it collected. It collected right here. This all just started collecting, and then it started rolling down the sides and made its way to the bottom, right? And so that's the way I look at it. But then he keep going down this pole itself to get to the bottom poles, because I was talking to him about that. I said, what that doing there? You know, poles got the little metal, it has the little cement attached to it at the bottom. Because that's the opposite of the top part, where, like I said, where the pole, other side of the pole connects into. So we go straight on down, further down into this well. We're at 947 feet. Excuse me, everyone. I have a little congestion here. But 947 feet, 948 feet. We're going down a little further. And we will get to the dirt pretty soon. You know, since the pole is not that long, we know we're getting there. So, all right. And when we get down to the pole, because it is missing certain elements, like I said, going down in that dirt. So here's the dirt right here, the bottom half. We're at 965. I think you're going to try to orient it around so we can get a little further back around it. And of course, he hit the pole, so you start to see some stuff falling off that pole. But when we got down to the bottom, you start seeing some other things going on. You're trying to wait till the settlement stuff, because, you know, we hit the pole, all that dirt that was pointing out on the side of the walls, all that stuff is starting to just get all over the place. So now he's getting down to the bottom of this pole. And when you get down here, when you start to hit the bottom, he first of all wanted to know, he's trying to figure out, what is this? Something else was thrown down in there. So we still don't know what that is that's thrown in there, some type of other piping, right? Then we look at the pole that's going down in this area. And then he started trying to orient this. This is still the outside of the well itself, the circle of the well. Some pole down in there, something else is thrown in there that's leaning against the wall. You got a pole over here that's leaning against the wall. And we're trying to figure out what this is. And this gentleman, he just didn't never see anything like that in these wells. There's no reason for it. It don't have any functionality to the well itself. It has nothing to do with like I said, it don't have a purpose for it to be in the well. So he's trying to figure out why it was in there and what it was. And he figured that it probably was one of the equipment, but he was trying to identify it. Now, when the step starts settling down, when he actually kind of touching around the bottom, you start seeing something that started appearing at the end of this bottom of this, whatever this is. But you see how this kind of sticks out here. There's a mound of dirt sitting there that's kind of settling there too as well. But this is the bottom of it where the dirt area is. But you'll start looking when the lights, everything kind of settle. You start seeing a little brighter part of the video, like the light itself is actually illuminating something that actually more wider than anything else. And that's where we start having some of the issues of finding out what this was. And it appeared to us like, you know, the dirt was covering up something, and it was pretty much like the dirt is circling around the top of a skull or something that point. So we'll get that. We'll get that in a moment. So while I'm waiting on that, let me see here if I can get. Okay, he has a starlight on right now. Let me see any more questions. But we're at 971 feet, as you all can see. I do have a question here. I'm going to throw it up on the screen while I'm talking with this, but that's still that poll that we were looking at. Question, Buckeye Police, thank you, PM channel, first of all, for the question. Buckeye Police Department efforts were substandard, and they did not want to look for Daniel. The question is why? We had a lot. Well, my private investigator, he felt that a lot of times the department is low funded, like Buckeye Police Department, and they would find it hard to. This way he did. He's a white gentleman, but he said it this way, and I don't think he said it in a nefarious way, but he said they wouldn't want to spend a whole lot of money on Daniel, right? And he said if they have any kind of other uh, things that dealing with race, they probably wouldn't want to spend on a black gentleman. That's how you pretty much put it. But in other words, he didn't put in those exact words, but other words. But what I would say is, I believe, just like we said, that they didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on one case, Daniel. And so to call it a criminal case, this is it right here. So we start looking at this little point here. That's where he's trying to orient himself. He said just some of the stuff he have seen in Wales before that kind of took his eye. This shiny object, this white mass, this white circle that he saw in his well, and he wanted to look at it a little further. Can you see this pole? First of all, he's really shocked to see all the poles and all this other stuff in the well. And I, later look at the video and say about the mound of dirt. At the time, I would think about the mound of dirt that is sitting on top of the pole, so he could tell you the story and how much dirt was pushed down in here to cover whatever that was up, or attempt to cover it up. And then at the same time, he was trying to drop the camera in there to see if this camera can go a little further down in that dirt that was thrown down in there, right? And so you can see the wood right here coming from way at the top that come from that wood that was thrown in there too as well. But I guess the pole, the cable that's probably still hitting that wood up there. That's another thing. But anyway, this right here, on the other side of this, if you guys can see it, you can barely see it there. But it was from this thing here. That's what we're trying to orient and try to look at in that well, right? But it was showed just like only a little small section of the top of the skull is what I was trying to get. And like I said, I sent this same video out to other forensics or pathology, whatever you want to call it, science departments in universities. So to look at, and that's what I got back, people opinion about it. The FBI need to be into it and look at it right here. And so, having said that, I try to get the Buckeye Police Department to see it that way. I tried to put it in the media. The media wouldn't stick with it. The media didn't stick with it, and also the Buckeye Police Department didn't want to have any hands on it at all. Just even trying to investigate it and look at it. But that's what we saw, and that's what I was getting down to the bottom. So to go back to the recap, how much dirt was here to probably cover up something this area. You have the pole, which is this thing here. You have the fence pole. You have all the dirt. You have the wood structure, and you have the pole. And so all of this was in there, right? And when Buckeye came in here after the pressure, after I showed them, tried to put the video, they didn't want to look at my video. Pressure. I'm sure they looked at my Q&A because they told me they look at Q&A, and I hope they watch it right now. They tell me they watch the Q&A. Thank you, Buckeye, for being here tonight. They told me that early on. This is in 2021, 22. They told me they watched the Q&As when I was doing it. They watch what it, and I can see some of the things they do as I'm saying things to you guys. I see them kind of maneuver, but the thing is, they saw this just pretty much on the Q&A and on lives like I'm doing right now. But it took the pressure that I put on social media. You guys been helping me, been writing the letters, this and that. I couldn't get it sticking into the news cycles or things like that. But because of the pressure of the public, they went in and they went in here after utilizing the same type camera I got right here now, the second time now, not the first time, but they used the same type camera, and they came back without this pole, without the fence post. They didn't mention none of that. Oh, we found the fence post in there. We found this in there. We found that in there. Only thing they had on this table was pocket change, like that call it. So let me let you all look at this real quick and tell me what y'all think. Okay. Well, I think from the point we start pulling out of there, but that's pretty much what I wanted to show you all. And so now I'm going to go to the comment section and let's discuss um, some of the stuff that we seen and talk about tonight. So, oh, there we go. All right. Thank you, PM Channel, again for that question. You have another question as well. I will go ahead and jump off here too, and we'll go to Instagram, and I want to see if anyone on anyone on Instagram have any questions, any thoughts. Let's see here. Make sure I have all this together here. Uh-oh, I think I messed up here. Yeah, I don't see any questions on Instagram. And I think I froze up. Did I freeze up on Instagram? Oh, no, I got you. Okay, good. If you have any Instagram questions there, remember, everyone, just put the capital letter Q, question mark, the word question before your question, then I can answer those. But like I said, at this point, this one I'm doing a Q&A, and I'm going to specifically be looking for those things I asked. Like I said, like PM Channel have here, she had the word question before a question. I think someone that had the question mark before the question. So you have those. Please, do that so I can let's see, answer those. All right. Question here is all the airbags deployed. That only happens if someone is in the passenger seat. Buckeye Police Department didn't think it was odd. They don't think anything was odd. Matter of fact, all the airbags are deployed, and you're right. I think you have to be over 60 pounds, I believe, or something to that number. Even for dogs, the airbag can kill a dog. So you don't want your child sitting in the front seat and they're not heavy enough. And well, if they didn't have that safety feature, I would say, and your child sitting in the front seat and the airbag go off and kill your child, that wouldn't be great. So yeah, they had that for a person who's over a certain amount of weight to have the airbags deployed, and all the airbags deployed. The second part of that, they can have arguments. Oh, the vehicle flipped and all that. The vehicle, you see, there was no roof damage. The vehicle didn't flip and roll over. It wasn't like my investigator said. It was a partial roll, meaning it only landed on the passenger side. And that's not what even caused the airbags to deploy. What caused the airbag to deploy is the front end, right front end side, where the airbag got deployed. What's called solenoid or whatever called thing that make the airbag deploy, and also some other things. But anyway, to say about the airbags deployment, I tried to get them to do forensics. When they did the forensics that I forced them to do, like I said, I didn't know at the time. Being a novice, I asked for fingerprinting. I said I want to, and then it's crazy. Sergeant Detective Hanneman, I think his name was. He said, "Been smart." I mean, these guys, a whole room of, and I'm gonna have to say it this way: whole room of white guys with guns, right? I'm a black guy, black male, had a black gentleman from the I didn't really know Larnell at the time, but he was with the NAACP just to come in there just to listen. And I could tell him and Chief Hall they had words because those two didn't like each other. I could kind of tell that from the energy, but definitely he had been there to observe and listen. And what I'm saying is with them, the way they was talking to me was really like I'm a dummy or something. Like you could say anything to me, and it was very disrespectful. I can't. And the reason why I brought up that issue about that room is when I first went to the Buckeye Police Department, and here I am coming in asking about my son. I got yelled at. What you doing here? What you want with it's some guy was at the front desk. So what I'm saying is the atmosphere there wasn't really good for me. And so remembering that, sitting in that room with these guys, all these guns, and they saying things to me that to me I can take as being disrespectful. I'm sincerely as a father sitting in there trying to understand what happened to my son. And one of the questions I asked was, how you know my son was driving this vehicle, right? How do you really know that? And the answer from Sergeant Detective Hanneman at the time says, well, it's his vehicle. Of course he was driving it. Like, what detective would actually answer a question like that? What the question, when I ask the question, I'm looking for them to have answers that say, hey, look, we test the chair for DNA of someone else, and we compared it to something. We have footage saying that he was driving the vehicle himself. I mean, there's some kind of evidence, something to say, and that's what I was asking. What evidence you have that he was driving this vehicle at the time when this thing happened, right? And the answer was, again, it's his vehicle. Of course, he was driving it. You know, disrespectfully the way he was saying it. I mean, I can't do it the way he did, but it was disrespectful. And then that's when I got angry, and I said, you know what? I demand y'all, because I asked them, and I tell you guys, I'm gonna let y'all listen to me recording myself talking to law enforcement, the Buckeye Police Department, when I talked to Detective Biffin, and he explained to me why he saw no need to do any forensics or any kind of investigation at the scene of that crime scene when that vehicle was on that ground. And they dragged that vehicle out of that crime scene in such a rough manner, they busted the tires, right? And so what I'm saying is it was no care taken, no concern taken, no nothing taken. So I was angry. But the answers, not just that answer, so much other things they said to me that I said I demanded some, because one of the things that was angry at me because Chief Hall at times kept saying plurals. All these pictures, we take the picture, but they gave me one picture. Detective Biff, when he met me that day after the vehicle found, put one picture on the hood of his vehicle and two maps, you know. And he said he claimed he had all these pictures. He knew I was investigating. So make a long story, I was mad for a lot of little reasons that day. And I asked for those fingerprinting. I demanded it. And I want to show me my son was driving that vehicle, right? And so they did it. They said he was going to do it. And so I left the vehicle there for a few more days. Because remember, I told you they threatened me to get it out of there within that day. But then I convinced the business to hold it for 3 days so I can find out where to take it. I'm not from Arizona. And so, to make a long story, it was just a mess. But to answer that question again, if somebody was driving it, they would have, again, when they say we have no more leads in the case, oh, we did all we can do, they haven't. So I challenge anyone who look at me in my eyes as a father, and if it was their child, and if it was Chief Hall's child, it was one of them sorry behind FBI agents over there in the field office in Phoenix child, I guarantee you it wouldn't roll the way they are rolling with me. And the questions I'm asking this person, anybody listening to me right now, to say that they did a good job, you look me in my eye and tell me some of the things that they haven't done to this day was a good job. And so they haven't done a good job. They haven't done their job. I did their job. And I did a job in the form of pushing them with the media coverage. Like I told you, you would never heard of Daniel's story if I haven't been pushing the way I have, fighting for my son, conducting these searches for over 50 weeks. That's only the weekend searches. When you hear it on the media again, I say, oh, he did 50 weeks of death searches. That's not including the weekdays of searches. That's not including the city search. That's not including the flyer distributions. That's not including me going out to follow leads. I've been busy, really busy. Changing, I'm like Superman, come out of the desert with dirt all over me, rushing to home, turning equipment really quick, rushing to my apartment. When I was in the hotel at first, and then I got a one-bedroom apartment, rushing to the apartment, change like Superman, jump in the car, and head downtown, down behind Walgreens to meet people, to get flyers out. Some of you right here on the live right now that have been out there with me. But the thing that I'm saying is doing all these things simultaneously, it was a job. And on top of that, getting on social media, doing this lies and pressure campaigns and all kind of stuff, trying to protest and all the stuff to get law enforcement to do their job because they would not move. And to prove that point, I gave them on April the 10th of this year, I gave them everything that was given to me that day after the Daniel vehicle showed up, gave them everything to do the stuff they haven't done, right? and asked me how much they did when they promised me, because I told them I ran out of money. That's why I was there, and you guys helped me get there back to Arizona. And I said I have to do that this week. They said, "Oh, we'll do it later." I said, "No, everything had to be done now." I'm demanding, and I was able to get it all accomplished. They got promises. We had the body cam thing. We did a custody exchange of the stuff. They gave me these promises, and then to date, and that was April the 10th. Now this year, and when I said they said it's going to do these things, detective is a new detective now. Detective Justin Adams is his name, and he promised me these things. And I'm gonna tell you how many of those things that he done. Here it is. What is it? December the 19th. What is day's 19th? Here, December 19th. I'm gonna tell you how many things he done out the things he promised. 0. Know why he did 0? And the Buckeye Police been doing 0 because to some they doing a good job, but on the ground they're not doing a good job, and it's because they know I ran out of funding. The kind of funding I need to get back there in Arizona to put pressure on them. And long as you don't put pressure on law enforcement, like the Buckeye, let me correct myself for the other law enforcement that do a great job. The Buckeye Police Department, you don't put pressure on them, they will not move. So for those who say they did a good job, whatever you credit to being a good job that the Buckeye Policemen did is because I pressured them to every step and every move that they made. And I want to say the work that they claiming they did, they're asking for credit for. On the ground, I'm the one that actually did it. So that's and it's hard for me as a father who knows I've done these things and watch the public or whoever give law enforcement the credit for it, right? And it hurts. I'll give you a prime example again. I know I'm going off on this one question, but I remember, and I said this before, when we found human remains. And when we start finding human remains, it always be devastating to me as a father every time. It was hard, especially when we start collecting and finding how many it was. If it's 2 vertebrates, that's 2 people. If it's 4 femurs, it's 2 people, right? If it's I'm using an example, but we start collecting these bones in a sense, these things. We wasn't the one calling them human remains, and I'm telling you something. There's a lot of animal remains out too. We find more animal remains than anything. Animals eat animals out in the desert. This is what it is. And cattle too, they die. And so um, we wasn't calling them human remains. The Buckeye Police Department was calling them human remains. All I know, we was finding them. Part of my searches, my rules were don't touch nothing, just take a picture, upload it to my website, Please Help Find Daniel. I had a set where the copy of that picture you send, the coordinates and all that, goes straight to Buckeye Police Department. It comes straight to me. Then when I got a private investigator, it came straight to me, came to Buckeye Police Department, and the copy goes to my private investigator, all simultaneously on real time. And then once we find it and send it up to Buckeye Police Department with then Detective Biffin calls me personally and say, those are human remains, and we mark them, right? So we got all up to almost 6 or 7 human remains. People, right? Because again, you count them by the bones, because we don't know if they all belong to the same person and all that kind of stuff. But if you claim, you count them by whatever you find. And those numbers came up to 6 or 7 human remains out there in that desert. But then, just like Buckeye do, to all the Buckeye Police Department did a good job. They got caught. Then Police Chief Hall was suspended, and one the assistant chief at the time quit because they got in trouble for falsifying documents. That department, that's what they do. They have a history of that, and he should have never been working with the police department ever again. But they kept him, and he did some other stuff. Had some issues with some financial stuff, doing business outside of law enforcement. He's supposed to do as a chief. And so they have a lot of corruption going on, right? The same department, same corrupt department came out to you guys and say, oh, they only found 2 human remains because they want the crime statistics to look bad because they're building that big old, nice, beautiful project out there, how his corporation, the smart city, and it's bringing in millions of dollars, a $1 billion type thing going on. And something like that, you find in human remains out in the area where they're developing, will make that cost of that go down. I'm sure it'd be a bad move for a business move and all this kind of stuff. So what I'm saying is, what you read in the police report, what you hear from the Buckeye Police Department, is not necessarily the truth. That's all I have to say. And that's based on what's happening on the ground and what's happening in the reality, and the reason why I be so angry all the time. So again, let me see here. Cammy have a question. Nobody have a question on Instagram. I don't see that. Oh, great. I'm all up to 446 people. So I got up on another 100. I really appreciate y'all supporting. Um, Mr. Robinson, can you find an expert to compare the known width of the whale bottom with the approximate circumference of the round object to see if it's proper size for a skull? And we did that. We have now. I can't say all fairness. We have a few people who was questioning that when I said the forensic department that I was sending stuff to. Same kind of question that you asked. Just trying to be a real comparison to say if that could, from the way it looked, could that actually fit? Just even if the dirt came to the surface, if the rest of the skull is down in the dirt, and it is showing that peak part of the skull, how you can determine if that's that, like I said, the circumference of that area would make sense, right? That is actually a skull, and then the well itself. But I can tell you, Kimmy, I wish I would have measured it myself, but I promise you, when we open it up, if I wanted to jump down in that well, it's enough to clear my shoulders. I'll just say it like that. And I'm 5'9", and so I don't know the width of my shoulders, but I'll tell you, you'll be able to clear your shoulders. So I can't tell you that part. Let me see here, and I think that's all we have. I don't see any more questions, so I can go ahead and end this live stream. And let's see. Thank you, Louise. Lucia, I agree with you on that. Yeah, and Zodiac, you're right. They do watch. The Buckeye Police Department do watch the live streams. And, and again, if I was to be able to, because I have all my videos, I record. You guys go on YouTube, see all the live streams. If you watch the live streams, and I guarantee you, if someone, I can't do it, I just don't have the time to do it. I guarantee you, if you watch Buckeyes movements, what they done, how they done it, and why they done it, you'll all see it matches everything I say on the Q&A. Because I'm telling you, there's some things I was saying on the Q&A, and I watched their movements when they go do something based on what I said on Q&A when I said they didn't do, or whatever case may be. I even said this before to you guys, and this is the funniest part to me. It's funny, but it's not funny because my son is missing. What I'm saying, the funny part was that I had Detective Biffin one time telling me my own story. He was telling me about, yeah, Ms. Rob, we went to Flagstaff, and we followed this lead up in the store called Bash's. It's a grocery chain, and blah blah blah. I'm not saying exact word because I'm just paraphrasing, but he was saying, yeah, and went there. We talked to the manager. And they tried to find out people. They said they had a tip to say they saw Daniel with a group of people. They was panhandling, and they was playing music, and Daniel's with them, and so on and so on, right? And I've listened to this guy like, I told him that story, and he'd tell me my own story and say they did the work. They went up to Flagstaff and followed a lead. They have not. I went to Flagstaff and followed the lead. My investigator went to Flagstaff and followed the lead. My investigator and I went to Sedona to follow the lead at Alt Records and bookstore, and been up there a few times. We followed the lead in California. We followed the lead. Only lead I know of, well, two leads in California. Only lead I know that the Buckeye Police follow up on their own was a lead that came in New Mexico, and that was it, the only one, and that was only a phone call. It wasn't like we went to New Mexico to follow up on this lead. So that's what I'm talking about. That kind of stuff. It's very, very irritating. Question here from KJW19631. Thanks so much for being here. Is it possible to try to have whatever that may be extracted? And that's the thing. Buckeye went in there and moved whatever they wanted to move out of there, and I'm sure they moved that too, because they went down in that well after this video I showed you all, and they said they all the stuff I showed you now, mind you, now I'm telling you again, I showed you the fence post. Well, let me start at the top. I showed you the pipe. I showed you the wood truss or whatever you want to call it that blocked the pipe. Then you go down thousand more feet down in that the well. Then as you seen the fence post, I showed you the fence post. You also go down further. You saw this big old block metal. We don't even know what to call it. Like a fire hydrant almost. Down in there on land against side as well. Then you see the mound of dirt because you know it's a mound of dirt or some dirt was poured down there because you see the mound of the collection of dirt on top of that pole, right? The sideways of that pole. And then at the bottom, you see the thing that looked like a human skull to us, right? Nobody's saying that's exactly what it is, but that's what it looked like. But it needed to be investigated. And so when the Buckeye policemen seen all the videos, same video I've seen you showing you all, and they saw it on the Q&A because they watching the Q&As, they're probably watching again tonight. But they didn't want it in real person when I tried to give it to them, and they didn't ask me about it when I tried to explain to them about it, what I found. They ignored me for weeks and weeks, and it made me angry. So I tried to put it in the news media. News media wouldn't catch it and put it out there as new. Oh, we found something else new, a possible human skull, and that type of story. Because that was my way of getting pressure on law enforcement. Always use the news media, use the social media as well. Get pressure put on them. That didn't work. So I just stayed with you guys on social media, and just like I said, I showed on the Q&A. I can show you an old video. If you go on YouTube right now, I did pretty much the same thing I did tonight, many occasions. And they saw that, I'm sure. Pressure started coming out as some people start calling them about it, and people have been doing that. They put pressure on law enforcement. Then they went and got a company just like I did and used the same type camera this time to go down in that well. And when they went down in that well, first of all, they told me they was going to do it, right? I'm really happy about it. Okay, now Buckeye Police thought they're going to go in the well and find out the stuff that you're talking about there, KJW, to extract it and see what those things are. And they told me they was going to do it. And I'm waiting on them to give me the date they're going to do it so we can go up there because that's what I do. I'm out here investigating. And they know that. I'm out here searching for weeks for my son. I'm doing all of these things. I am being a part of this whole whatever Buckeye do, right? And so what they did is instead, just like they did with this, that's why I say I don't really have credit with this FBI, is they went behind my back like they did with the FBI, who came and said they did a case briefing with them. Went behind my back and went on a date secretly and went in there, and whatever they went in there to get, they pull it out of there. And when they showed the public and even showed me, it was pocket change. All that stuff was reduced down to screws and bolts. They said, well, there's nothing in the well. We found nothing. Zero. Nothing in the well now. All the stuff y'all just saw, they said they found zero in that well except for these bolts and screws and nuts. There were no humans in there. There was no fence post in there. There was no wood structure. It was just these little bolts and nuts, and that is good police work. So again, that's the answer to that question. And let's see. I think that's it. None on. I'm checking you guys again on Instagram because I know it's moving a little slower than I am on this end, but I don't see any questions over there. KJWZ, thank you so much again for your question. Excuse me. I appreciate it. Excuse me, everybody. I've been having a little congestion starting for some reason, so apologize for all of that. But again, I hope you all have a wonderful night. I think I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. I don't see any more questions. But I want to say again, I just wanted to come on again like I did last week, and like I told you, I was going to go through this well site again. Next week, I think I may have more. I'm trying not to put too much out because I'm still investigating. Believe it or not, you guys, I'm doing some stuff. I have, I just have a lot going on. I want to go back, and I did. This wasn't a question, but it was a comment that I read, and I feel like it's probably something I need to address. And I think it's a person asking. I'm trying to find if I can. I'm sorry if I, but you didn't put in the form of question, and yeah, I know I see this. This is a question, but this wasn't a question part. But this is not what I was talking about. I'm gonna put this up. Say this real quick because I'm looking for something else. But criminals hate me. So I hate to ask this question, David. Do you think that it may be Daniel's skull in the bottom of the well? I'm hoping not, and I really don't want to believe that. But if it is, definitely I want one of my sons to be found. But if it's not my son, if it's a human skull, I want somebody else, family member, to be found as well. Because I'm telling you, everyone, I'm telling you, there's a lot of crimes happening out there in that desert, in spite of what law enforcement want you to believe. It's a crime scene. That area where my son went missing is a crime scene, a big one at that. And there's a lot of people. We found human remains out there. There's a lot of people go missing. One family in Florida, I was able to, in my search, bring some closure for that family. I know this family, and I'm not gonna put them out there. That she know who she is. We talk a lot, and one of those human remains we found out there belonged to their family member. So what I'm saying is, anytime, whether it's Daniel or not, if it's something if something I'm doing is gonna help some other family, I'm all for it. I hope that it's nobody. But if it is somebody, it's always good to help give the family some type of closure and some form of closure. It's not the kind of closure you want. I don't want that type of closure for my family, but for Daniel, the conclusion for Daniel. But at the same time, we all need some type of closure, some form of closure to understand. Because as long as you have a missing loved one, it's always one of those things that just bother you. So you don't have the answers. So you kind of in limbo, and your mind is all over the place all the time. It's hard to explain. It's one thing when you have someone and you find a closure, and you have a loved one that passed away. You go through the heartache and pain, but you know where that person's at. You know where they're at. You know they're not here any longer in the flesh. And but when a person's missing, you don't know if they're here or not. You don't know if they ran off somewhere. You don't know if they been kidnapped. You don't know if they're dead. You don't know. You just don't know anything. And so you kind of just suspended in one place. But I want to say thank you so much, YG, for that super chat. I truly appreciate you and your support. That's really helpful, and I really appreciate you. God bless you for that, for that gesture of love. I truly appreciate you. So thank you so much. And let's see here. I'm up to find this one question. I want everybody to see the question because I want to answer it and tell you that's the reason why I'm answering the question. I saw it, so it wasn't in the. Okay, I have a question that I think I didn't answer here, but it was a question about my politics, and I wanted to put it up so you all could see why I answered the question. But I never want to make, and it's a slippery slope, and it's kind of hard for me to separate the two in some aspects because the person asked me about politics, and I wish I could put it up. The only reason why I started running in the first place was because my son went missing, and the only reason I started running for the first place too is because I want to help as many missing American families as I can. It's also my run for Congress is also part of this, what I'm doing right now. I mean, it's not, I can't, it's hard for me to find separation between the two. Only difference, reason why I do it all the time, try to separate it, because we are so polarized in this country. It's like, I would turn out to be this father looking for my son, how I want to put it, who has a genuine heart to try to help as many families as I can along the way, though I'm going through pain myself, right? And I see it with the Petito family. They're doing it with the Petito Foundation. I've seen it with the Mrs. Struggle. I have a friend of mine named Katrina. she's doing it. She have family members missing, her sisters especially, and she's doing it. I just know people turn your pain into some work, right? And so I'm not the only one doing it. But part of the work I'm doing has to do with politics, because what I want to do, we all see what I've done so far. Um, I'm trying to find answers to what happened to my son. And one of the things I found that's happening to me, why I can't get these answers, is happening to a family every day. Like 3,000 families today are possibly going through exactly what I'm going, the way we went through it. Don't have these answers, right? So I vowed to these people, I'm going to do what I have to do to make sure families don't have to go through what I had to go through when I'm trying to find my son. And so to do that, I tried to go through the senators in Arizona who couldn't get it accomplished. And so I said, I'm doing it myself. I'm the kind of person, that's just my personality. If it's not going to be done, and people, I kind of laugh. I had to laugh at when I just said it, because I know some of my friends are listening, especially A-Team and some people in the campaign or whatever. And people always would say to me that I try to do everything by myself or do it myself, and you need some help or whatever. And it's hard for me to let things go sometimes, because I keep my hands on it, right? And so it's almost like that. It's like when um, uh, telecommunication wouldn't do it, the senators in Arizona couldn't do it, then damn it, I'm doing it myself. That's just my attitude. I do it myself. I never set off in life and say I want to be a politician or anything else, and I never even uh, thought of it. Period. Or and so they gave me the opportunity. It just gave me the opportunity to do something, and then of course I care about things that happen in my state, and I care about things that happen in the country. I'm just like anybody else to be arguing about certain things we see politically is happening in this country. But what I'm saying is I don't want to get reduced down to something I'm not. And also, so that's why I said I want to put a question up, because the person said something to that effect of why you want to get into that when you're such a nice father, or whatever the case. I can't get it, but I kind of briefly read it. And it's not something I wanted to get in. Like I said, it's not a dream of mine or something like that. But it's a need. It's a need, and I can explain it. And I was going to articulate that a little better, but it's a need, and that's the reason why I'm doing it. As a need, is a sacrifice, actually, because it's like serving the country when I was over there in Afghanistan. And I'll tell you guys, I have some things that y'all just don't know, it's like a veteran. You just put yourself on the line for everyone else, and so that's the same thing when you're doing what I'm doing. I put myself on the line for everybody else. It's not about me. So anyway, the question here is, no DNA testing on the sock and those clothing? No. And that was part of the agreement I had when I gave them the things over to Buckeye Police Department on April 10th of 2025. It hasn't been done to date. And to be sure, it is Daniel's or perhaps the person who frequented the area, or get DNA from the perpetrator. And that's the point we are making too. And the reason why I'm asking the Buckeye Police Department Detective Adams to test the clothing, because my daughter, I don't live in Arizona, but she do. Her and Daniel, matter of fact, had planned a trip to go hiking that weekend that he went missing. And so she knows the kind of clothes he wear. Nobody can say he went to the store and bought something new and that's his first time wearing it. But nobody identified the clothes that Buckeye's forcing down our family's throat and saying that is his clothes in a pile with his wallet in it, and that's his clothes. But we look at clothes like that don't look like Daniel's clothes, And no, that's your son's clothes, and you're gonna like it. If you don't like it or not, that is your son's clothes. That's how we taking it. Well, prove it is my son's clothes. Let's get some DNA testing and see if my son was wearing these clothes, right? And to date they won't do it. Also, saying we said about that, the clothes, did they test it? We want to see if there's blood. This is what Detective Evans told me when I asked him an update on do they do these things yet. He says, "Oh yeah, I sprayed some chemicals on the clothing. It's like luminous or whatever they call the thing, but it don't destroy DNA or something to that effect. And I said, okay, because we was checking to see if any blood on it, on the clothing or something. I'm asking you to say if this Daniel's clothing. Let's get it doing DNA stuff that you were speaking about just now. They're not doing that. Then I turned around and asked them, I said, well, okay, in 2021, y'all say y'all did the swabbing. Remember I told you Detective Biffin, and I was in that meeting, and I was fussing. I asked y'all to do that forensics work, and y'all turned around and said y'all swapped steel wheel, the shifter, and the door handle. Where's the results of that? What y'all got? Oh, what he said, well, we were working on that. I was like, but Detective Biffin back then asked me for a razor. Even Detective Adams, when I was there, asked me for when I went to Daniel's storage unit. Y'all know that sad story I had in April when I did everything that week, when I had to dismantle my son's storage unit and get rid of his things. That was the hardest thing for me to do in a long time. And part of one of the hardest things in my life. And he said, while you're going through that stuff, if you find an old razor shaver, we can use that to see to use this for this comparison or whatever they want to do. And I tried to give him I found a shaver Daniel probably used. I'm not even know if it's his, but it's in his stuff. Try to give it to him, he wouldn't take it then. I'm like, well, why you ask for it? So when I asked him update of what y'all do to say, he said, oh yeah, we I think he said something like they was testing in the stuff from their swabbing. Then I said, well, what you compared it to? Then he got tripped up and said, and he started bouncing it on some woman that works in another department. I'm saying it's games to me. They play these games. They're not doing the work. They'll put it in the police report. They did XYZ, and y'all believe them, and y'all say they're doing a good job. And so to date, as it stands since 2021, and this is 2025, there has not been any comparisons done on that swabbing they claim they did. And I don't really believe they did that. That's what they say. And there's not been anything done on that. There hasn't been any other than word. I sprayed some stuff on the clothing. There hasn't been no testing of the airbags to see somebody's DNA on the airbags. The airbags, when they hit somebody, they take off DNA. No comparison. I think I even hear him. I think they're waiting for DNA to degrade or something, because I think he said something to that effect about length of time of DNA degrading. They waiting on that. That's to be the ultimate excuse for not doing anything. And so that's the kind of stuff that goes with this DNA testing. You asked about the clothing. That's a no. They have done zero DNA testing on anything in Daniel's case. So that, again, the argument they would have is, as long as we can stall off calling it a criminal case or a possible criminal case or anything, we don't have to do it. By law, we don't have to do it. And that's the reason why y'all gonna hear an announcement. It's gonna be the hardest announcement I have to do. I do have some more questions. Thank you so much, everyone. It'll be the hardest announcement I have to do to everyone, and so you guys will hear it probably on June the 23rd of 2026. And also, well, I won't put that out until we get it developed, but I can say this, we may have an event coming up this March in Tempe, Arizona, and also in Buckeye, Arizona. So look out for that too. And to aid that, I'm asking y'all up front right now, please, I'll be asking for donation. I have donation for a lot of stuff. I do a lot of stuff, and I ask donations for a lot of things, even for my personal self, the damage that I had to do from everything I'm doing right now. But I ask for a lot of donations because I need them. I don't ask them because it's prideful for me. It's been hard, but I think sometimes God put in my life that it gave me to a point where I have to do these things. But even for campaign, you have to ask. You always ask for donations for everything. Everything's all about donations, like. But yeah, I'm trying to put an event together, so y'all hear about that pretty soon too. And I really need help with that as well. And that's not for just Daniel; it'll be for other families that will be part of this. It's really, really nice. Buckeye Police Department efforts were substandard, and they did not want to look for Daniel. The questions, well, okay, I think I had that question already. Let's see. I think we got the airbag deployment 1 p.m. channel. Yes. So I think that was it. I don't see any more. I have one here, and I wonder if someone from the police department would be willing to come on one of your lives. Imagine that, to answer questions if they're not hiding anything. I can ask. I can ask. I say, imagine that, because I laugh. I say that. Imagine that happened. That'd be great. I wouldn't shame talk them or anything, but yeah, they would have to answer some hard questions. So, um, and let's be public about it. If you're, like you said, if you're proud of your work, you got these people, FBI and all of them, tapping you on your shoulder and give you the high five that you did such a great job, and the man's still missing. Then, let's talk about it. Show us why you should be high fiving, and you did great work, and there's no need to continue this thing because you did all you can do. Let's talk about it. And then, let's compare that to the actions that was taken on the ground, what I've done as a father, and what I'd like to see done, and all the lingering evidence and the lingering leads that can be explored from the police department that haven't been done. So, we can go on and on tonight about it, and I'm saving a lot of this for next week. But we can go on and on about, that might be a good talking point for next week, to talk about the leads that law enforcement haven't been followed up on, from the death threats that I have had while searching for my son. Who knows? They're probably still out there, but because they haven't been settled. But the death threats I had just for searching for my son, that again, the Phoenix field office, FBI, haven't done anything about. And also the leads that we have when it comes to this, I'm thinking about the gentleman name that say he saw my son also. I'm trying to think right now, it's skipping my mind right now, but and a few others. He's not the only one, but some other instances where we have these leads that people come and say, Buck, I just wouldn't even take up on these leads for whatever reason. Because again, like I said, if it don't fit the narrative that they would like to have out there, that Daniel somehow suffering from some mental illness, he's depressed, down, or even with the young ladies might be some type of stalker, or he's on some heavy drugs. He can't be a brilliant scientist. He can't be who he is. A brilliant scientist who graduated with honors, who have life aspirations and dreams. No, he had to be this stuff what we want him to be. And it has to be that he may have offed himself, or he, like Detective Biffin said to me, he might just join the monastery and become a monk to be away from his family. Those type things. So, I doubt, they would come on here because they know it wouldn't be, like I said, try to shame blame them, but they'll know it'd be some hard questions they don't want to answer because there's no answer for them. They can't gaslight on the things I would ask them. So, good night, everyone. Thank you again. Billy Hayes, there you go. This person put it up. Thank you, PM Channel. There you go. You know what I'm saying. The so-called, he told me he was a federal police officer. He even told my investigator that. He even showed me a badge, and somehow the Buckeye Police Department wouldn't even put him in check for that. Those type deals. I can tell you, and I can tell you guys what they said to me on the next live concerning Billy Hayes. Have a good evening, everyone. Thanks so much, Keisha. I really appreciate it for saying that for me. I truly appreciate that. And you're right, why would Billy lie? But thank you, Keisha. I really appreciate it. I need to jump off. Y'all have a good night, and we'll please come back again next Friday. That's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. if you're out there in California, 6:30 p.m. if you're in Arizona. That's Mountain Time, then Pacific Time, and then Eastern Time. So, all right, take care of yourselves, and again, make sure you put family first. Enjoy this holidays with your family, because I'm not coming. Oh yeah, matter of fact, I won't be back on here next week. I won't see y'all till next year. Next year, I will have the. You'll see the me saying, "Hey, I'm gonna have a live stream Friday." So all the Fridays until after the new year, I won't be doing any live streams. So even from anything I'm doing, so I'm just taking some time off with that for the rest of the year, and I'll see everybody on the other side the next year. And so y'all have a good holiday season. Love your family, hug them, tell them every day you love them, even when you're angry. Just say I love you and I ain't talking to you, whatever you got to do. But tell people and cherish every moment you can, because you never know. You don't want to end up in our situation. My family, we had to spend holidays without one person, and you don't know if they're alive or dead or not. And so just take care of yourselves, everyone. I'll talk to you soon. Be blessed and talk to you soon. Take care.